Our shop page gonna be something similar of this page, and as you can see here, especially the data for the categories, the brands, this layer of the data is already fetched it beforehand and just passing there from directly within that parameter. So we're gonna do the same thing, the same ratio, we're gonna just following that up here. So first of all, we need to grab our data, especially for that pages. So we're gonna make it as an asynchronous function, as it gonna we need to fetch the categories and brands from our particularly from the Sanity. So let's const categories. Categories should be is equal to await, and there should be get categories function. So it's gonna provide all the categories. Then const brands. Brands, it should be getting await get all brands. So there's the two kind of data which we're gonna handling it all together. And before going further, first of all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in my components in the pages, and I'm gonna create a separate folder called shop, where our all the pages gonna be entitled over there. So I'm gonna just create that one of that, let's say shop dot I think it will be shop.tsx. Yeah, that should be perfect for the name of that shop. Now what I'm gonna do over here, instead of this must, we're gonna just bring our shop. That's it. So that's the overall component it's gonna be look alike, and we're gonna put a class name just to predefine on that pretty good way. Or anyway, either we can go in that way, or also we can fix things in a larger scenario. So as you did that, what we need to do is to provide that both of the data, like the categories and the brands, it should be passing to directly in the shop as a props. And so then from the props itself, we can now do other actions. So what we're going to do, first of all, we need to provide an interface right here. Let's say it should be an interface, and I'm going to provide the name as a props, should be passing that categories, and categories should be, let's say it should be a area of category over there. So area of category, and then brands should be brands, and there should be let's say I'm gonna just make that brands, and there should be an array of brands. Now over there we can simply pass the logic that everything gonna come in from the props. Okay, what's wrong? Did I make something wrong? No, should not. Okay, props. Oh, POR. That was the name of the problem. So I'm just gonna, yeah, it was the naming problem. So it should be the categories, and that could be the brands. Now you can console log, that should be passing there, and it will showcase for sure. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make entire page as the use client flag, because there I need to provide some of the state. Remember, there's a lot of things gonna pass that. When I'm gonna make the filter, it's gonna come in something like that. And also if we go in the home page, if I select any of the category, as you can see that category, this is a different page which is forecasting the category. But instead of that, we can just simply go and align whatever the things which we are passing right here. Now if we just go over here, let's say we want to go directly to view. If we click on the brand, as you can see, it's getting the brand. So you can do the same thing for the category and also for the brand itself. So this is not a big deal. So as you can see, I can receive the filter. So this is the part which I need to make the use client, and when I'm clicking, that should be entirely as an use client flag or parameter. So I need to make sure about that. So right now what I'm gonna do, I need to provide some of the states. So I'm gonna bring back all the state parameter right here so that you can use it. Now over here, what I am having that you search params, I'm having the product, which gonna save the product in an entire product. It's actually gonna be setting it all together. We have that use state to go and do the things with that. So first of all, we make sure what you're having. From the search params, we're getting the brand params. So as you can see, we can also pass the category if you are looking forward to. I'm going to provide the brand so you can retouch with the category. So brands, if the search params get brand is available there, then it will get the brand. And if the product set products, by default, it's going to be an empty array. We're going to make that set loading properties. We're going to provide the set selected category and category set. It will be selected, and also for the brand, and which going to coming from the brand params. And then so it's the same parameter. Either it can be the brand params, or it can be the category param. If I just showcase you that importance how we are making things down here, if I click on the brand, as you can see, it's getting brand is equal to the brand name. The same thing you can do. So if we just copy and paste that, so instead of brand params, it should be passing that as a category params, and that should be naming as category. So that should be either it gonna passing at, you can just simply say in the band param, so either it can be string or null. And beside that, as you can see, the legitimately you can also pass that one, or that's it, your brand like category params also align. And also the show filters and set show filters, which are going to be by default as a false value. So right now there should be, before taking the product, I'm gonna just gather upon two separate scenario which can look back together to provide all the data structure that can be make things really shuffling. So first of all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get this here, some of the class name, which gonna be class name, and that should be providing a border T. So at the top layer there should be a border, the one which we are seeing right now. Okay, then after that border T portion, I'm going to make the container here container, or you can directly put the container. So why the container is not put this, that's the container. And over here I'm going to take a div, then another div, then I'm going to provide the title, which we have having the title. You can use it if you wanted to. Then get the products as your needs. So that is the title which we can see right now. So this should be the title alongside. Now for the class name of that, margin top should be 5, just to providing it a little bit backwards here. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna provide a certain kind of class name to make things everything be apart. As you see, I make the div as a sticky because there should be one div, and after, so there should be particularly to separate div in the container. So this is the one, and then should be another. So after that there should be another div which gonna hold the product data and others, that should be holding the our like the title. After the title, so this is the top layer on the title. After the title, that should be also conquering all other setup. So first of all, as you can see in the div, after initially of that the title over here, so this is the title which we define. And also for the title div, we can just simply make some of the class name. You can provide that if you want it for. That should be a flex column. And as you can see, what you're talking about, this is the ratio which we are talking. So the not this one, especially this one, that receipt, that one and the other one. So now what we're gonna do over here, as you can see, we have the get product. So after the title, we also gonna have a button which gonna say receipt filters. Okay, so as you can see, two side by side, and if we just come backward, you see that can open to be in a, like in a flex ratio. Okay, for the title, we're gonna just provide some of the class name. For the title, MD should be, text should be LG, text should be LG. And also we're gonna make that, I'm gonna make it an uppercase, and tracking should be wide, so that it gonna be looks a little bit better. Okay, uppercase is not working, that should work. Yeah, that's already there, so it's working. Okay, after that, for the title itself, after the button over here, let's put a class name here, and the button text should be, let's say, tech orange. And also we're gonna make that underline, text should be SM, font should be medium, and hover text should be, let's say, tech dark red, not dark red, and we're gonna pass that hover effect. Now that will always not to be open, you know. If you just come over here, as you can see, if it doesn't have anything, we can receive the filter and that disappears. So it will only available once the filter is certainly done. So this is the ratio which can handle those things. So right now, as you can see, first of all, this is the div is handling our top part. So this is the top part is handling. So now that should be handling the, let's say, filter and products. So filter and product, it will be just handling from there. Now first of all, there should be a two certain kind of scenario by which we can make things better. So this is the div which going to handle it all together. So in that div, we can also make that like the filter sidebar and then also the product sidebar. Now for the filter sidebar, there is a two setup of the filter sidebar. If you make a smaller screen, you can see that's the one filter which gonna creating, that's bringing back entire sidebar. And there's a two sidebar. One is for our logo parameter. If you click, we didn't create it yet, we need to make that things. So there should be one for the aside filter over there. So entire filter segment which gonna coming back directly there, we're gonna make things done. So first of all, we're gonna provide that our entire segment which by which we can grab things in a very proper way. Okay, so let's just do that. And don't be surprised on that. See that menu which we are showing here. This is the same menu which gonna just coming at the top. So this is the same thing. We're just changing the position. That's it, nothing else. So there should be a single menu, and by which we can just do all the things like the both way it can be indirect, both way it can be done in a very simple fashion. So first of all, we're gonna just make a simple comment here, which gonna passing that. Let's say it should be a mobile filter overlay. So filter overlay that we're gonna do later on. First of all, we're gonna just make our filter sidebar. Okay, so that will handle within a div property here. So first I'm gonna just align it. Now I'm gonna providing those class names copy pasting, because now you know what things can be done. It's getting to be flex column, MD flex row, gap 5, border T, and border T orange. So as you can see, that's what is holding that entire tab right here. So below there, first of all, it's gonna go with our filter sidebar. So this is the one which can handle all of the things together. And to do that, we need to provide a certain kind of class name to be go on that, right? So if we go here for right now, it's not, yeah, it can, okay, that's get your products as your needs. Okay, so we need to align it all together. So how we can do that? So first of all, there should be a button. So I'm gonna start building from the top, so that would be very rational. So there should be a div here. On the div, that should be just a simple and like a self-closing div here. So div, and the div gonna handle, we're gonna just provide some of the class name over here, which can just make things done in a pretty decent way. And if we just go back here right now, you're gonna see nothing at all. So just this button, nothing else. So what it gonna make, it gonna make a fixed inset 0 bg black 40% 50% opacity. So that's what I'm talking about. So that's the one which we are right now we created. So as you can see, we need to make that show filter as true. So if we just go properly here and we make that as true, you can see that overlay, that's the overlay which we created right now. To make that fixed inset 0, background black is 50, Z is 40, transition opacity duration 300, and it will be hidden. And as you can see, if the filter is available, opacity 100, and then if not available, opacity 0, and pointer events is none. So this is just a basic structure to do that. So now we're gonna bring our filter sidebar, right? So below here, there should be a lot of class name. We're gonna bring that, but first I'm gonna provide some of those data so you can understand things in a very decent way. So H3, return to filters, and then it will be a button which gonna just get the X icon, and that's it. So the two things you can see side by side. So right now from here, I think below that we're gonna make something. By default MD, it should be hidden, and also it should be, let's say, flex, justify should be between, and then item should be center, padding should be 4, and also we're gonna make that a border bottom. That's it. So as you can see right now, that's the filter structure. So if you click, that's the filters which I'm talking about. It would be not here, but it could be somewhere, right? So by default, whenever we are in the medium screen, you can see it's not there. So it will disappear, and the action is actually handling it could be something similar of there. So first of all, we need to align those things, right? So how we can align? So make things very differentiate. I'm gonna just provide those class names right here. As you can have the code entirely, you can understand it a bit nice and cleaner. So first of all, in the div, what we are making that. So this is the second div over here. So that's the filter sidebar, and after below that filter sidebar, there should be another div, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna popping that a div. So that's our filter sidebar. Where is that? Yeah, that's the filter sidebar. And after the div, there should be another div which gonna holding our products, right? So you can see the products div is right here. So this two div is side by side, and now we're working with the div of the sidebar. Now what we did, by default in MD screen, it's sticky and margin top is 20. So means it gonna hold, as you can see, the gap is coming from the 20, and we make it sticky. That's it. And also what we did, MD self start and medium, and we're gonna make a calculation from that 100 VH. We are minusing 160 pixel of this height. We're minusing to get things done right here. And also an MD screen overflow, why should be auto, so it can scroll through. MD scroll bar also, we are making it thin. And also, as you can see, the track is gray 100. So that's the track which I'm talking about. We are handling all of this, and also thumbtack orange. And then what we are doing is that we're making the background white, fixed, and that's the fixed by default. Only MD it should be sticky. By default is fixed, right? And Z index 50, MD Z index 10, left 0, top 0, height full width 280 pixel, right? Our flow Y auto, transition, transform, duration 300. And now here is the magic. When show filters is available, it's gonna be translate x is equal to should be 0, and then is minus x full, and MD translate x 0. So when show filter is available, that time it's gonna be visible. When MD is screen, that time it will be visible. And then whenever it's in show filter is false, it automatically gonna be in that minus ratio. So means what we are now actually looking over here, once we click, that is getting a translate x is 0. If it just moving, make it false, it just providing, like whenever we make it false, it getting that minus x full totally in that in it inside. Now we're gonna make things a little bit of furnishing to see what actually gonna be over there, right? So what I'm gonna do, so this is our filter here. Now I think okay, that's the filter. So okay, that's the receipt filter button. So if we just go at the top, I think there are we missing something? Yeah, we are mobile filter overlay, which we provide the overlay here, but we didn't provide. Okay, it should be over here. So that's the filter. Now we need to provide that filter, make a much more better. MD it should be hidden, but why I can see? I can see, so that should be visible, right? So that's the button which we can see right now. Oh, okay. So something we are missing. Okay, now what we need to do, MD should be hidden, but it should be flex. So now in H3, put a class name, font should be bold, and also text should be LG. So that's the filter. And now where is our button? I'm going to reload it. Maybe if something is missing. No, nothing is missing yet. So here is that foundering all the things down to be in a very, very good way. Maybe we are missing something for sure. Okay. And if we just make it show filters as true, let's see what is gonna happen. Okay, show filter is true, we can see right now. So okay, yeah, that's that's in unconscious. But what I was looking forward, that's the button which we're gonna make things down to be make the filter value, right? So this button is missing from there. So what I'm gonna do, as you can see, what we are having in the receipt filter, I'm going to make that things as false again. So after the receipt filters, as you can see, there is a mistake. We have no button to receive the filter, but that should be applied here too. But now what we're going to do, we need to provide back that. So if we just go over here in the receipt filter button, so that's the button which gonna receive the entire thing. So what is gonna happen, also we're gonna make that button in the receipt value. So that should be on click. We need to create the receipt function and others. No, I'm not going to create. I'm going to create later on a bunch of things all together. So this should be coming up with a data layer. So let's say I'm going to provide a div, and the div is going to provide that. So here should be another button. So the button going to say, if that show filters is available, then it gonna say, it will say of that, let's say it gonna just make the text of hide. Otherwise, what it gonna say, it gonna make the text of filters. That's it. So now it's hiding, so it's now filters. So if now it will show the filters, but later on we're gonna manipulate that one. And for the button itself, for the class name, we just need to provide the similar ratio of the classes. So that could be in the bigger screen, it should be in the MD should be hidden. Otherwise in the smaller screen, it should be available. So flex, now you can see if I go in the MD screen, you see it's not visible. So now what it's gonna do also we can do one more parameter is that, and a margin top we're gonna put into a margin top. Let's just, or I think one could be better. Okay, so receipt filters and filters, two is side by side. We can make it side by side, put a class, then we can make a flex, and also we can make an item center. We're going to provide a gap of 2, so it can be providing that scenario in that ratio. So first of all, also we can make one more button here. So instead of putting that directly here, we can cut it. We can just use a span tag just to show this one. Then we also gonna render a button here by which you can see whenever the show filter is available, gonna put a cross icon. If it's not available, provide the filter icon. So that should be similar of that. If we click, now we need to activate our functionality. So whenever we're gonna on click on that, we just simply write the function should be set show filters. That could be toggle like show filters. Right, if it's true, that it's gonna make false. If it's false, it's gonna true. If we click, as you can see, that is coming. But if we click outside of it, it should also disappear, right? So remember, there is a function which there is a value over here for the outlay, which is actually that div itself, right? So either you can keep a div, or if it's just you can make also a button. But if it's a div, we can just simply make an on click even on that div. Then what we can make that set show filters gonna be as false. So if we click here, you see it just disappear. And right now if we click here, it will not disappear because the place is here. So if we click, that is disappear. And now even I can click that because this is now getting to be in that for the Z index of 50, so it can be accessible. So now this is a very cool things that we are now having our data layer. So first of all, we're gonna start building all the blocks to populate our data to make things bigger in a very big ratio. So by default, this is the smaller screen here. As you can see, what is now building, that's the filter and other, is by default MD is hidden so that it was not visible before. Now for the button here, we also make an on click event, just a simple data ratio. That's okay. That should be similar of that. Set show filter should be false. That's it. So if we click here, as you can see, also by clicking here, it will disappear. Okay, fine. Now that is the div which we are talking about. So after the div, we now gonna provide our category. So here it's gonna make that category list, and after that also we're gonna make that our brand list. So that should be our brand list. So category list, brand list, and also we're gonna make that our price filter. Let's say it's gonna be providing that price list. So these 3 components gonna be coming up all together. So what I'm gonna do in my shop, I'm gonna create a new component, should be category list.tsx RFCE. That should be holding our category. You can keep in the same page, but I love to keep it separate so that I can work with the logic. And that should be, let's say it's gonna be providing that brand list, and also another one which gonna be, let's say, our price list.tsx, and that should be our route for our price list scenario. Now these 3 things gonna be working up, team up all together. So first of all, I'm gonna make that category list appearing here. So category list, you see the category is right here. Also I can pour all things together. So brand list, and then it's gonna holding that our price list. That's it. So the 3 list data is right here. And for the category, we need to provide some of the scenario. First of all, we will provide some of the data. We're going to provide all the categories from there. So you're going to bring up all the value up. Where is the price list? It's having the price list, but it's not showing the data. Really? So if we click here, till brand list is coming, sometimes it's happened the error. No, it's not there. So if we just go and copy, I'm going to copy in several times the price list or the brand list. Let's see. No, it's happened to be, it's taking the load. I think something happened to be there. Just provide a reload to fix the things to be done. Now it's working. I just restart that terminal. Sometimes it's happened because we're using the turbo pack, so it's getting a little bit faster, but there is every time there is a fallback when you're using some up-to-date technology. So now here in that, especially for the category, we are passing our entire categories to just to go and make things done. And also we provide the selected category by which we can now see what category is selected. Then we can highlight and mark that. And after that also we are providing the function which can provide that set selected category, which can take by default a category. And from there it's going to make that set selected category as the category, and set show filters going to be false. And this is particularly for the smaller screen. Like if we go here and like you can see it right here, if we go here, if we select any category, you see that would be false by default. So that's what we are just looking forward to have it. Okay, done. So now also we need to, now let's go back in our category page here, the category component here, to just to see what things can be done in proper way. So first of all, we need to bring back our 3 segment, which gonna coming up that 3 data, and the 3 data you're gonna render it from the props. So we need to provide the props at the top. So let's say it's gonna be interface as props. So on that particular props, as you can see, we have the category. The category should be a category of that type, and that should be an array of category. And then it's gonna provide also this. I'm just gonna copy paste that one. Selected category should be it can be if there is the selected. So I'm gonna make it an optional. So if there is selected category, then it's going to be either a string value or it can be a null value. So that's it. That's the 2 things. Then also another one which gonna be the set selected category, and over here we're gonna make it as a React dispatch React state. So set state action data which gonna be rendered, and it can be either a string or it can be null. So we have 3 data, so which by which we can now provide the value of the category. So in that div, I'm going to provide the title here. So the title, and on that per title, so and make sure you are importing title from the common title, otherwise you're going to get that error. So it should be product categories. Product categories. So now you can see all the product categories data ratio is done. For the class name, I'm going to provide the full weight. Background color should be, by default it's getting actually white, so no need to provide that, and padding should be 5. So you can see the padding ratio is good, is seeing in a proper way. And also going to make that text should be base, and text by default, whatever the text is right here, that should be okay. Now I want to make a radio group. Okay, that should be also coming from the component, and over here I'm going to provide that categories dot map. Every single thing should be as a category, and then I'm going to return the value here, and I'm going to return a div. So right now I'm going to say hello, just to say hello, and over here provide the key, and the key should be, let's say, category, not like that, category / you can see the ID, and now we should be able to see entire hello statement. So the same thing is happening right now. I'm going to make yeah, same thing happening right now. So this is the thing, but it should not be like that. We need to make it better, and we're going to do it. But what we can logically do, that is that because we're going to have a radio button, and then we're going to have a label. That's why we are wrapping it within that div here. So on that particular div, we're going to provide a radio, should be I think a radio group item, I think so, yeah. On that item, I'm going to provide that, let's say the value should be, I'm going to provide the value on that particular instances. So that could be providing the selected value here, and the value should be category slag.current, and that can be coming as a string value. So that should be the typical, as you can see, the logical value here. So that's actually working. And also at the first of the group value, we need to provide that value. So the first of all, the value should be as a selected category, should be the category value, and for otherwise it could be null. So as you can see, if there is no selected category, that there should not be any of that mark gonna be on that category is selected, right? So right now we have nothing to select it, so that it will not do the proper ratio. And also I'm gonna make some of the data ratio for our div here. So that div gonna contain as a selected category. We're going to provide that category for the slag.current to get the selected one. Now if we click here, as you can see, it's getting selected, right? Selected. So that is working. So in the group item, which is going to provide the value, and also we're going to provide the ID. So the ID should be a category, not like that. ID should be category slag.current. And better if you provide that null check, means if it's not available also it will not break. You can see right now, if we just reset our filter, so reset it now, okay, reset button, we didn't pass that function, so it will not work. Okay, so now after that also we're gonna make that class name, we're gonna make that a rounded should be sm, so small round parameter should work. Okay, fine. And also you can make the rounded full if you are looking forward to that, up to you, but I'm gonna make it small. I think here also we are using a small round parameter. And we can also make that border, so that border, let's say I'm gonna make the border of border black. Yes, we can just go through with 80% opacity, or we can go with the 50% opacity. Let's say 50. I think that is better, much better. So now after that, we need to provide the text, right? And providing the text, we're gonna wrapping that our label. So label should be UI components. And on that label, I think that should not be self-closing. We can just simply pass that category, and every single category has a value of the title. So you're going to provide the title and the set. So now we see what category is selected, how things is coming up. So I'm going to just make that one for right now. Okay, that should I'm going to just I want that one to be muted. Yeah, now you can say we can change, and that is working perfectly. I think portable camera is coming twice, so I need to check. We need to remove that one, because that portable camera, it was okay, but the slack is same. How you can check that is pretty simple. You just need to go to directly in our Sanity Studio. So from here, as you can see the problem with the category, so we can just go directly in the category. So this is also having the live problem here. So the portable camera and portable SSD. So these two, something gonna be similar of that. So we're gonna go with the data of portable camera, and let's see if the slag, I think the similar slag which actually is there. So portable, you see the slag, so we can now generate a new slag, so which can be the similar. Now if we publish that data layer, it should be fine by so far. So I'm gonna close that, and if we just reload here, no need to reload itself also, the data will popping up right here, so it will not be, so there should be somewhere here. So now as you can see, also get the fresh data if we click in portable SSD, and also for the portable camera, that only the single one should be selected. Okay, right now we're good, we're good. So I'm gonna make that one happen. So now let's go back in our categories. So in our label itself, we also need to make things in a better. So for the label, we're going to provide that HTML4 category, which is going to be the category slag.current, and the class name, if the selected category is there, which going to be then if the selected category and category.slag.current is the together, means that one is selected, font semi-bold, and text is the text orange and font normal. So this is the very much everything to just go with that. Below that radio group button, I'm going to take another state, like we're going to inject the JavaScript. So it should be if the selected category is there, then we're going to also happen to be providing one button, not that variance. You should be just getting a simple button. You can also use that Shadcn button if you like it too. And then it's going to pass that receipt selection. That's it. So now, as you can see, it's selected. So we are having that receipt selection button. Also, this button gonna contain those of the properties, like it's gonna be passing for the class name, which the text sm, font medium, margin top 2, underline, underline offset 2, decoration 1 pixel, hover text, take orange, and hover effect. So now if we click, and also whenever we're gonna click, set selected category should be null, means empty. You see, it's empty. If we select in particular category, if we select, it's just gone. And also for that hover, I think for that one cursor pointer. So now why that cursor is not getting, I think it's supposed to get, okay, for the label, it's not taking that. I think also we can make that one, let's say, over cursor pointer. Yeah, now all the things looks pretty decent. So that's our categories. So the pretty much similar way as we did for our categories, we're gonna also do it for our brand. So for the brand and for the price list, For the brand, we're gonna pass that, and also for the price list itself, we're gonna also pass that value. So the brand's gonna hold all the brands, and the selected brand should be that function which can declare the selected brand, and also set selected brand should be the selected brand properties. And a similar way, the price list, you're gonna providing that selected price, and as the data we are not providing from the Sanity, because we're gonna make it a local data, the one which we are showing here is just locally under $100, because we're gonna pass the value to our data layer. That's it. So it's gonna like get the products or providing that filter value, but we're gonna just pass that from here initial properties. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to our brand list, where we need to make things pretty much decent way, the way we did beforehand. So what I'm gonna do, first of all, we need to provide that props here, and from the props, instead of brand list, I'm gonna just go with that a brand of that. Okay, cool. So now we have our property which having the similar of that category list here. The brand title, selected brand should be similar on selected brand, which gonna be a dispatch function on that selected value property. And also you can use that void property if you are looking forward to. Now we need to get every single property destructuring from the props. And after destructuring, what we're gonna get? We're gonna get our brands. We're gonna get our selected brand. We're also gonna get our set selected brand. So these three values gonna coming up together. Now, first of all, we're gonna provide a title here, so that which gonna say us that our brand property, brands, and for this one, for the class name, which should be full, and padding should be 5. Now we can copy the similar parameter, the one which we did, but we can just make that things pretty decent way, similar of that. Okay, we can just go in our category list. Just I'm gonna bring that so that you can see it's pretty simple. I'm gonna bring entire segment from there. Okay, that's it. Copy this entire things here, and over here I'm gonna paste it. So now we're gonna change what we need to be provided. We're gonna First of all, we're gonna make the trade group. Instead of selected category should be, I think selected category should be selected brand. Okay, that's it. And after that, not the categories, but the brands. So every single brand's gonna be having a brand, and there should be a brand.id, and there should be set selected brand over here, which gonna passing that brand/current. And also the item should need to be imported, and instead of category, that should be our brand. So brand, and also need to be providing a brand property. Now also need to import the label here from our components. So that's our label. Instead of category should be brand, and that should be set selected brand is equal to that brand.current, and also need to be providing that brand.title. So I think selected here should be selected brand here. That should be the way. And also that should be selected brand, and here set selected brand should be as an empty value. That's it. Now you can see that is done. Just we did the copy paste, nothing else, and we changed the data. If we go high tech, as you can see, if we go the value here high tech, now we can go and reset the value here. We can go IKEA or the Hitachi, we can go right here, we can reset our enter. Now also I think the best way to go and concat the property here, which for the reset functionality, by which we can go and filter every single data ratio. So I think that's the value which gonna concat on that, the reset filter, and that button, it will not be disabled, like enable first. So we need to provide that some of the like the parameter or concation. So we can just simply generate that. So what we are doing, if the set selected value, I think we need to provide that function here. So I'm going to just initially declare a function at the top. Const, that should be the function. That's it. So now in the receipt, like the receipt filter, now as you can see, it's not available. Once we're gonna just having any filterable value, either we can receipt single-handedly, but we have multiple value, we can just receipt from here itself. So how we can do that? First of all, on that function, we need to declare how the receipt gonna happen to be interactive, like activated, right? So we're gonna make that selected category. So what's just a similar portion of that? We have the 3 value of the selected category. So selected category should be null, brand should be null, price should be null. That's it. So that's the value which you're gonna providing here. So now as we did that, now we need to go directly here in our price list value. So where we're gonna just make the filter to do all the setup to bring back our price filter property. So to do that, first of all, in the price value, we're gonna create a price array. So that should be our price array, which gonna having a title and then having the value. Now we make sure the value is aligned it all together, because we need to pass that value to directly in our Sanity, by which the data should be filtering from there. Now if we go back here and we make it bigger, and as you see, if we just I'm going to reset everything, I'm going to make all the products under 100, nothing is available. So I'm going to make 200 to 300. As you can see, only that products is appearing. Over 500, that products is appearing. So that's the way it's gonna work together, right? So you need to be careful on that. The label and property should be aligned it all together, otherwise you're gonna get the error, which would be pretty much hassle to fix. So right now in the price list, remember the way which we have been done, pretty much the similar portion it gonna be happen to be there. So we need to get back our title here, and then we're gonna make some class name, which gonna be, let's say, which should be full, and padding should be 5. That's it. So I think I'm gonna make it bigger so that it's gonna be easily seen, or the similar, I think the same portion as in static page. I want to make it the preference gonna be, let's say, height. Okay, so now we can see the price. Now over here we can do the similar pattern, the one which we have been seeing, right? So what we can do, I'm going to go in the category again. I'm going to copy all the things from there, and then I'm going to paste it here. Now what we need to do, okay, we need to first grab the value, right? So we need to define the props here. So that should be our props, which gonna be an selected price, can be string and null, and then the set selected price, and everything gonna be coming as a props driven by here. And then it gonna be getting that, let's say, selected price and also set selected price. Two value is right there. So we're gonna get our radio button here. And after that, instead of selected category, should be selected price value here. And after that, we gonna make that let's say that should be coming with the price array. So price array dot map, and every single things we're gonna combine it with the price. As we doesn't have the ID, I love to go with the index property, and the key should be providing that index key. So that should be our key, and that should be set selected price. We're gonna provide on that. So that should be providing of the price dot value instead of this entire segment. That should be price dot value. So that should be our price. And for the radio button here, so like for the group item, we're gonna provide that instead of this a lot of other things, we can go with the similar pattern and parameter. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna provide the value and ID. So the value should be that price dot title, and the ID should be price dot value. And also we need to provide the level, and on that level it should be guessing on that gonna be price dot and title. That should be our level. And also if the selected, let's say, selected price is equal to, now you can see we can highlight on that. So let's say we can do that. So instead of providing that one, so if we having that selected price, we can just go on that, and there should be price dot title. And also if we have that selected price value here, now set selected should be selected price, then should be set selected price need to be providing as null. That's it, nothing fancy here. If we click here, so if we filter value, now you can see it's selected all the things right here, because you see we have the selected price, right? So we need to combine how the way it can be done. If we have the set selected price is equal to, let's say, price dot value. That's it. Now you can see now it's working, right? So this is just, you need to concat. Now one thing is that the value of that ID is not grabbing here, so we make the title, I think we'll make the value. So altogether, yeah, value should be enough. Yeah, now you can see. So now see in the live, this problem is still there, right? If we click, oh no, live is fixed here. Okay, when I fixed, I think I did it. So the text is not rendering, but the icon is here. But you see here, you can either see the text, everything is perfectly aligned. So now it's time to bring our product. We got all the value, right? Now the problem is that how we can grab the product. So this selected value having all the value properties, you can console log and then you can make things done. Now our products need to be appear from our data set from the Sanity. So what we need to do, we need to create a simple and simplest function which can render everything. So what I'm gonna do after that, I'm gonna make a function which gonna be fetch products products, and that should be an asynchronous function. And after that, we're gonna just make things done. First of all, we're gonna make that set loading should be as a true property value, true. And then I'm gonna make that a try catch block property, so try catch. Now for the try instances, what I'm gonna do is that if we are having any catch property, right, if we're having any error, so you're gonna make that, or you can put console error. I'm gonna just make console.log just to see that shop product fetching error, and here we're gonna define the error, should be passing that our error. And in final method, so in the finally, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that set loading should be as itself, it's gonna be false. And when I'm gonna call, so every time I'm gonna make that an use effect parameter, use effect. So every time I'm gonna just running or rolling back the function, I'm gonna calling that, and let's say fetch products. So whenever the product, like the page is mounted, that function gonna call. So here I'm gonna just make that log. Let's say I'm gonna make that product out. Okay, so if we come over here and if we make a reload, as you can see, it should be popping up that product called. So if we just make okay, I'm gonna close all, I'm gonna make a reload here, and as soon as I did that, I should be able to see our product called. Okay, done. Is none. What's wrong here? So okay, that is the server side. So fetch products. Okay, it should be function. Anyway, it's just a silly mistake, but you know the problem is done. So I'm gonna go over here and then I'm gonna coming back. I'm gonna close all. I'm gonna coming on the shop. So now product code, our function is run. So even I reload every time, that product run function gonna call time to time. So you see the product call is done. So now, so we know our product call is working. So now we need to provide the feedback, the way we can call our entire data structure. Now, the way we call the function in the Sanity, we should happen to be a query, right? So before getting the query, we need to make certain things to be right. First of all, we need to extract, like we're gonna extract the, let's say extract min and max price from selected price. So there should be a price value here. So first of all, let's put the min price should be a 0. So just to coordination, and max price, I'm going to provide a maximum price of like overall 10,000. So that should be a maximum price value that could be using the default one. Now, if there is the selected prices available here, so now what we can do, we can only then gonna start working on that. So let's say const, we're gonna make that min, and also you're gonna say that max start of things. And from there, as we are having that selected price, right, we are happen to be have two values. So I'm gonna just console log here. Let's say selected price. Okay, so you're gonna see the price value right here. So I'm gonna select on only whenever it's selected, but right now it will not work because as you can see that is not happen to be there. So you need to call the function every time it's actually handling the data. So right now you will see nothing at all. But what we can do here, instead of here, okay, we need to log first. That was the problem. Okay, should be selected price. Okay, right now let's see. Okay, also we can do one more thing is there. Whenever the selected price is changed, we want to call that function, so that way it can really work. So whenever the selected price is changing, that function gonna call. So as you can see, what I'm gonna do, close everything, click again, you see 5 to 1,000. If I click under 50, 0 to 100, and 1 to 200. So that's the one which we are looking forward to. So now what we need to do, we need to just provide a simple scenario by which we can contradict on that value, which a min max property. And over here, what we are actually doing, okay, instead of const, we need to use the let variable because it could be reassigned later on, so that it can be multiple. If you use the const, it cannot be reassigned in that group, in that scope. So let min price is 0, max price is 10,000. You can use as much zero you want, so no worries about that. But now what is that for the selected price, we're stating is equal to making that, because the item is coming like that way. And again, I'm going to load that, so I'm going to log that, so you can have that understanding what actually is happening right here. So if we just select any price right now, and as you can see, the value 300 to 500. So that's the way we are capturing the data, right? So now this is the way we are also splitting the data after selecting that. So we have the min price and max price. If I just log over here, the minimum and maximum values, so min price and also a max price. So let's just selected that. Why I close this, that should better to be open. Now once we come in the console over here, and then if I select any price right now, you can see 2 to 300. So min and max is perfectly working. Okay, that's the down one here. You see that 300 to 500 over that 500 to 10,000. So this is the one which actually is happened to be encompassing. So now I'm going to remove the console. So now we have the min price and max price. Right now we need to write a query, right? Const query, and the query gonna be is equal to, we're gonna use the backtick to write our query, and that query gonna be a little bit longer, right? It's gonna be a very extraordinary query, and you take your time to go and picture all of the scenario what we are just passing here to do it in a proper way. Otherwise it gonna make things very dull for you. So right now we are getting that for that star mark, and underscore type is equal to should be aligned with the product, and if this defined selected category is available, or the reference type is equal to category, and in slack.currency it is equal to selected category.id. So this is the section for getting the category statement. So means if category is available, then we are also identifying the brand, getting the type of the brand.id, which gonna coming from the Slack, then is getting the brand consolation, and after that we are having the price is bigger than, like bigger is equal the min price, and the price is equal to getting a maximum that of the maximum price. Then this is the combination of the query which we are writing here, or and also we're going to providing the order which going to be name ascending. Then from there we're getting the categories, and we're getting the categories of title, and this spread tag is providing all the product. Now in our categories we are only getting the category error object, but we need to define to get that category title. So now in that way we can capture all of our data. So take your time to write that and then start the next page. Now from there, we're going to make the data should be is equal to should be await, as we're going to talk with the sanity, and that need to be coming from the client. And from the client, we're going to fetch the method from there. And here we're going to pass the query. And after the query, we will going to also pass that selected category. So let's say we are getting that query. And after query, we are going to pass... okay, that should be passing that. We just passed the query. Okay, I think I just mistyped something. So after passing that query, we also need to pass the value of that selected category, selected brand, min price, max price, and also on that we need to provide that next, and where we're gonna pass that revalidate at 0. We're gonna fetch in real time. You can use the revalidation if you wanted to, but for here I'm not gonna make any revalidation. And after that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna log the products data, or you can say the data. So let's say data, and that should be our data. And every time I'm going to select like selected price is changed, selected category is changed, a brand or selected category is changed, I want to call that function. So now if we come back here, if we just make a reload for the first time, I didn't select anything, but at the first instances I should be able to get the data. What is that? All the data is coming. You can make the pagination if you wanted to. Now I want to get that action camera. It's nothing. I want portable camera. It's having one data. I have the earphone. I am having one data. or I want to receipt our entire segment from there. Done. I'm going to having entire data, high tech. I can get full data. So our product is coming here. So right now, as the product is coming directly as an array, I can just simply make that one set products value, which going to be simply passing that as data. Okay, done. Now is the time where we can now start pouring our products. Remember, our category section and others is done pretty decent way. And for the product, let's go back to our product section at very layer here. So first of all, here I'm going to make that in here. What is actually okay? Similar pattern. So over here, we're going to make it a flex should be 1, and let's say margin padding top should be 2. That's it, just to make a very good conversion. And after that, I'm going to take another div here. On the div, I'm going to provide a loading state. If there is loading, I'm going to render a div. If there is no loading, means you're having the product. Then if we are having that products dot length is available, dot length is bigger than 0, then we're gonna showcase our, let's say it's gonna passing the product. Let's say it's gonna be a div where it's gonna say the products. And if it's not like that, like if it's or you can say the length is not bigger, then we can just simply pass another div. Let's say div which gonna say no products. Okay, so right now if we just click anywhere, you can see no products. If I just receipt products, so now we can see the products. If we drone, no products, smartwatch products. So that's the way we can capture. So now we're gonna first go in the loading instances. In the loading instances, I'm gonna make it a pretty simple and decent way. So we're gonna just provide a loader icon. So loader 2, done. So now what happened when you click, you see the product is loading. Every time you click, our product is happen to be loading. So what we did is actually padding top 10, padding is 10 and empty padding is 20. We're making everything flex column to make it center, gap is 2, item center, justify center, and putting a background color. And after that, we're also providing a loader icon, which you're gonna spin up. We are making it bigger and then also animate the spin, then font, and that's it. So product is loading. Every time we click, our product is just loading from there. Now, if it's cached properly, that loading gonna be very, very limited time. So right now, if we have the product, what we're gonna do? If we're having the product, we're simply gonna make that things a products.map, and every single thing gonna come in as a product data, and from here we're gonna return our product card, the card which you're having, and from there we're gonna pass the key. Of course, you need to provide the key as you're mapping to it. Provide a product dot that should be ID, and there we're gonna make the product should be passing that our entire product. So the data gonna be coming here, but it's not so nice because we need to provide a grid properties here. First of all, it should be grid column should be by default 1, and whenever is in extra small screen, I'm gonna make that grid calls of 2, or I think extra small gonna work. I think the ASM grid calls of 2, extra small is there, should be if we come back here, no, extra small is not working. So I'm gonna just provide a small screen. Let's say, or we can make that. What if grid columns of 2? 2 is getting more squashed together, which is not really good. Okay. So right now also we're gonna provide something called that. We're gonna make that LG, which gonna be grid columns of 3. And for after that, if we Excel, grid columns of 4, and we're gonna provide a gap of 2.5. That's it. So now you can see the product is working perfectly. Okay, super simple. If I just make it as 2, yeah, it looks good. It looks good. So I think small is good, and also we can just provide an extra small property. So let's say it should be extra small. I think it will not affect that much, but you can try. But I'm gonna just provide a 2 grids for the differentiate just to coming it together. So right now, if we just go and open the filter camera, okay, we can receive the filter, done. Okay, perfect. That is how we can now fetch the entire segment. This looks pretty decent. We can now see the card and others, so everything looks pretty quite well and good. So now if we go, what is actually reasoning here? Okay, that's not a big deal. Okay, we're good. We're good. So now we are having that our shop page. Now we'll move forward to do the other things. It's time to bring back our comparison page here. As you can see over here, if I try to select any product, I can go with the Apple AirPods. I can just check any other product. I can view the comparison and it's gonna go /compare, and I can add up to 4 products right here. Okay, so 4 products can be compared. And as you can see, that's also fully responsive, just to be providing a norm here. So I can see the value, I can see the product, image, name, price, brand, availability, description, action, and all other parameter working perfectly fine to just calculate each and every single segment. So now, as you see over here, nothing is happening because we did nothing so far. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close everything here. I'm going to go in my app, and then from the client, I'm going to go in my page. And on that particular page data, especially for the banner itself, is right there. And from the banner, I'm going to go in my product comparison. So on that product comparison, as remember, we brought up all of those things, but we didn't work with any. We have the product 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the like product 1, product 2, search 1, search 2, products 1, product 2, loading 1, loading 2, and show results 1, show results 2, search 1, search 2, because we are having only 2 products. So remember, the things it's gonna be, once we click, that search button gonna be coming up, and if we just select any of the products, that would be set out as a product 1. And so far, the loading state, every other segment gonna work together, and the same thing gonna happen for there also. And once the 2, not 1, but a 2 product is selected, only then I can make view comparison button. So now let's start building those things in a very proper manner. So because it could be a very simple behavior, the way the application can work. Doesn't matter whatever application you're building, that could be very legit if you know how to do those kind of actions. So first of all, I'm going to go and start pouring each and every single thing. So let's go in the input. So that's the first input is coming for the first product search. So what I'm going to do here right now, so I need to provide a reference for that. So I'm going to make the reference, and the reference going to be, let's say the reference, it will be search 1, like the search ref 1. So this will be the first reference. And also for the input parameter, right now, as you can see, we have nothing so far, but we need to combine with that. The value should be the search 1 value. So whatever the value you're going to write here, that should be entitled as a search 1 value. And then also on change event should be set search 1, should be whatever we type, that could be entitled to be as a search 1 parameter. And on focus, it should be set show result 1. So as you see, once we are typing, the result is showcasing right from there, right? So that's the one which gonna creating right here. So this is the text which gonna be combining it all together. So, and below that, as we are having the search button, we will make a combination here. If we have the search 1 text, right, then we want something. Otherwise, if it doesn't have the text, we're gonna be combining the search. And if the search 1 text is available, I want to make a cross icon just to cut those things. So the class name, it's gonna be a size of 16 and providing a simple variance of class name. Again, I'm not taking a headache for the class names because this is a very bigger project, and you know, you already understand how to combine those class names. And if you're still having some problem, you're persisting some kind of modification, then let me know in the comments, because all the code, it will be available to you. Repo is right there. And when I close that, set search 1 should be empty and product 1 could be as null. If I type something here, as you see, if we click, it's gone. If I type something, click, it's gone. So this is the one which can handle for the search 1 parameter. The similar parameter it gonna be happen to be, as you see, there is a search 2 parameter is there. Now before going up for the search 2, so after the search, I need to show the product. So that should be search, let's say search, oops, my bad, search result for, let's say first product. So that should be the search product bag drop down. And if I have that show product, show result 1 means there is the product, only then I need to provide that. So I'm gonna just make a div, and if there is a loading 1 is running on, means the product loading time is going on, then we will just simply show a div which gonna be saying the loader. And after below that, if there is no other parameter is done, then I'm gonna show another div which gonna say, let's say product. Okay, so that should be, as you can see, this showing product right now because it's just an like a place and like show result one is done. I think, did we capture the product? No, we didn't capture it, so it could not be done. That product still is right there, but we're going to fix that. So right now what we can do, as we have the search one, so show result one is true. So let me see how it's getting true. Set show result. Okay, yeah, whenever we are typing over here, you see when the value is there on focus, if I just remove, so whenever we are in focus, that should disappear. If we click, yeah, that should disappear. But I think because of our parameter right there, so I need to check one more time. So the value, so that's the div which is gonna be search ref one. Did we have the reference? Yes, reference is there. Okay, so we need to check what is actually happening surrounding, providing the width and everything is cool. Also the div properties is done properly. Now let me see the input value. Input is okay, placeholder, class name, the value is there, search one, on change event is there, set search one e.target.value, on focus, only on focus value that could be set show result is one. True should be there. Let me see. Okay, only one single place, we are making it one. And then also for if there is a search one, okay, blah blah blah, good. And if the show result one is available, yeah, available, only then it gonna render. But where the misinfo, I'm gonna reload it. Maybe it could be happen to be some of the issue. So let's reload, and if type, yeah, if remove, but when it's removed, I think am I missing okay, I need to provide an use effect parameter maybe, because I need to combine that how handle click outside can happen. Okay, so this need to be provided. So what I need to do over here, I need to provide a value of use effect, because I'm clicking outside. Whenever I'm clicking outside, that doesn't know that I click outside of that focus. So I need to provide an use effect value parameter by which it can make things done. So over here, we're going to declare a, like say it should be an handle clicked one outside, handle clicked outside. So that should be the function here. And if that search ref one dot current and if not equal to search ref one dot current that contains e dot target as node, so means if this is not within that, it's like outside of the parameter. Now, if you just focus closely, that's the reference, that's the div. If you just remove that div, as you can see, that is the entire search bar. Okay, so now that reference can combining that. If I'm clicking outside of that div instances, only then it's gonna work. And what is gonna happen? If so, that's handle click outside gonna take event which gonna be coming as mouse event. And if the search one dot current and if search ref one dot current contains event dot target node, so means if it's not in especially on that reference of the data, so that time it's gonna take an action. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna make a document dot add event listener, which is a mouse down, and handle click outside, which is gonna make that shit show like set show result one should be a false value. So that's what it's gonna do right now. Okay, so also the similar things it gonna just popping up so that it can easily be understandable what the things can measuring by so far. Okay, so handle click outside, what's the matter? That should not be happen to be an error. Okay, let's see what is actually happening. Is it so? Yeah. Okay, it's just a type error. Okay, so now if we try go back, okay, but it's not taking the actions by so far. That is annoying. Yeah, now it's working. You see, on see effect, just make a reload and that will be perfect. Over here, okay button, that's not an issue, so we can now do the other thing. So first of all, as how we can combine it, right? So whenever it's loading here right now, we need to provide a very simple loading instances by which we can show the data. And the loading one and loading like the data layer, it should be similar for both of that. So that could be a loader. Remember the loader 2, the loading instances we have been created before. We're providing a loader icon, then providing the searching. So if I click, okay, still the searching, it will not be visible. So if I just make it null check, you can see now that's searching. Okay, that's the loading we should be taking care of. And over here, class name would be, I'm going to make it an absolute positioning so that it can provide in a very good way. And the margin top should be 1, and I'm going to provide a width of full. Background color should be white, and then rounded should be empty. I'm going to provide a shadow of LG. And after that, the max height should be, let's say, 48 pixel, like 48, not pixel, but 48 into 4. And then it's gonna be, let's say, overflow y should be auto, and we're gonna provide a border should be gray of 200. Done. So right now, what's actually gonna happen, so now that can really make a separation. As you can see, once we are having the searching value, we can just see how those things would be quite appealing. You see, okay, nice. So you can make more padding and margin if you're looking forward to. Now what you need to do is that whenever we're going to have the product data, at that time we can show the product, right? And it's pretty simple to go with that. We're going to just map through that products one, so it could be a multiple property there, not product one, products one, so two separate combination there, right? And we're going to map through it, everything going to be coming as a product. And from there we're going to pass a div, and on that div itself we're going to make that a p tag, which you're going to combining that, let's say it should be returning for the product, and then product.name. So we're going to pass the product name. So right now you're going to see nothing here because no product is available. We didn't call it yet, and we need to provide the key, which is going to be product, and product / let's say ID, it will be available. And also whenever we're going to click on that particular instances for the data, we're going to provide an on click value here, which is going to be handle selected product one should be a product, so that function need to be combined. I think it doesn't have the function right now. And then we're going to provide some of the class name of the padding X, P, Y, and then having that background like the background color and others. So now this is providing that product name, and for the product name we're going to provide some of the class name that should be, let's say text should be small, font should be medium, and also line clamp should be 1. So we don't want that to be more than 1 line. And if there is no search results, so like say we're searching for like the product but we didn't get any product, that time what we're gonna do, right? So over here, before mapping through the data, we can make the combination here, or we can just provide that. We can cut all of the div here, so that entire div can be cut by itself. So I'm going to cut it. And after that, what I need to make that, as you can see the return value here, we're going to make that if the products one, let's say products one dot length, if it's bigger than 0, then we're gonna having that. Otherwise we're gonna having some different understanding, which gonna say let's say it's gonna be no products available, right? So that's the combination it gonna be happen to be there, so that will be written that no products available, right? But there is some of the conclusion is right there if there is the search one product, right? So right now if we just looking for there, if we have the search one, like there is no search yet, so that's the search one, right? If there is no search yet, how we can show the product value? So there also can come up the combination here, which can be that if the search one is available, only then that data will come, otherwise it's gonna provide the null value. So you can see nothing is there. If we search one is there, only that time it can come in through. So right now what we need to do, we need to provide that handle selected one function. So I'm going to copy that function, and as you can see by pops we are passing entire product, right? So over here I'm going to make that function which is going to be handle product one, that could be a similar data of the product, and that should be a type of product, and from there we can define the function. So that should be set product one, not products, but set product one should be our product, whatever product we're going to click on that. And also we need to combine that value of that, let's say set search one, so that's the value should be, let's say product dot name, which gonna come in as a string value. And after that set show results one, which is going to be whenever we click on that, we don't want to show the results which can be providing as false, so that should be one, and another one should be coming for handle select product two. Now the question is that now we need to fetch the product, right? So how we can like get the product done? So we need to provide two separate functions to get the things done. And how we can do this is combined together. You can go with a single parameter, with a single function parameter, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it create a separate function in behavior. Like I'm gonna make it separate so that you can understand in a very easy and simple way. So first of all, I'm gonna go top of that. So this is the one for that handle click outside for the search one. As you can see, it's the search ref one, but there should be another one for the search ref two. So what I'm gonna do, this is as the simple as it is, so that both are the same. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just make copy the previous value, and then I'm gonna provide that as it gonna coming up. Okay, that should be a close. Okay, so that should be like that, a close results when clicking outside for the second input. So that is the first input we are handling. When click outside is disappear, and that should be working for the second input, which gonna bring us very soon. First we're gonna like reshaping the first one. So now we need to bring our product. How we can do that? So after handling that, we will just make the comment, and it will be, let's say, fetch products. Let's say should be products for first input. So that should be our first input. And over here, we're going to just simply make a function fetch products. So that function gonna be an asynchronous, or we can simply use callback, as it gonna take or redirect the time frame. So we're gonna go with the asynchronous function with a proper callback functionality, and then we're gonna return something. And over here, we can now combine all of our category or parameter as the use callback, so it should having a proper valuation. So now what we're gonna do, if we have the search one, so if we are having the search one value, like first we're gonna check the null check. It doesn't have the search one value. We don't want, like, the set products one should be as an empty property, or you can say an empty array. And after that, we also return. We will not do any further activity over here, right? So this should be happen whenever our no search, that product's valuation only gonna work once the search going to be work also. Now over here, I think set products one, that not products one, that's why it's providing the error. Now over here, what we're gonna do, like if we having the search, right, then we're gonna make that set loading one should be true, and then we're gonna go with the try catch parameter to do the entire segment. First of all, we're gonna pass the error message by which we can render what kind of error we are looking forward, which is going to be error fetching products one. So products, let's say one, so that we can really extract on that. And in the finally method, we are going to happen to be make that set loading one should be, it should be false. Okay, and also the value should be defined whenever the search one value is changed. Now why I'm making use callback, as you can see, once we are typing here, you see the delay over here, like I can type apple altogether, right? Apple. Now it's searching. So that delay, the millisecond delay, need to be carefully done. Otherwise, whenever I'm gonna type anything, it's gonna start searching, which is really annoying. Like I need to rephrase the word, right, to get the search value, and that data, like it will hit my database so often. So now what we're gonna do, first of all, in the try block, we're gonna get our query, and the query is that similar of the beforehand. The type, it will be product, and the name match the search. So it should match the name with the search. Then the order should be name ascending, and we're gonna get maximum 10. So you don't want more than 10 results to be appear in the search, and that's also a good option, because you can also make it 5. It's up to you, but I keep it 10. So whenever you're gonna search something like an apple, so it's gonna at least go and fetch a criteria. So like I have an apple search for this 5, it's gonna go maximum 10 alongside with that. So that's the very good way to do. So this is my query. Now over here, after the query, we're going to also make the params, and the param should be an object, and the params, the search value should be, it will be search, and the search value should be combining. I'm going to make it that, because I need to put a $sign here. Then we're going to pass that search one value, and of course we need to pass that that asterisk mark, otherwise it cannot combine the search. So there's a lot of things going on. What I recommend you try, okay, if you're facing problem, let me know in the comments and try to resolve it. So it doesn't mean whenever you're having an issue or having an error to just let it go. No, don't let it go. Try it harder and you can do it. So now what we're gonna do, I'm having the param, so now I'm gonna make that response, and that response should be awaits. Now I need to go and make the fetch from the client dot fetch, And from there, what I'm going to fetch, I'm going to pass the query and I'm going to pass the params. So both segment can be done. And if I log through the data, I will see whatever the response I'm gonna getting. So I'm gonna try to look forward to have to see the response. So right now, even I try anything or do a lot of things, nothing gonna be coming in my console, because remember, we didn't invoke the we write the function, but we didn't call it, right? So this is the function, we didn't call it yet. So what we need to do, we need to get an use callback, like use effect here again, use effect. And over here, now you can customize, like create a single use effect value to mount everything, but I don't want to go to make more complicated, because in a single movement, maybe your entire property gonna loading and keep on loading, and it will be a problem for you. So you can master it, but I'm gonna go in a very similar way. So const, I'm gonna make that one as a debounce. So debounce timer, and the timer should be coming set timeout. So the set timeout value should be passing that a functional property, and there we're gonna fetch products, right? And fetch products, when you're gonna fetch products, the defined definition gonna be 300 milliseconds. Now you can make it as much as you want, that's up to you. And from there, of course, I need to return, because I'm making it mounting, I also need to unmount, otherwise my component gonna cry. So also what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that a clear timeout. So as we make the set timeout, we're gonna make the clear timeout to do strings, and here I'm gonna make that a debounce timer to be taken action. And that's call, it's gonna only happen whenever we're gonna have like the search one value, and also whenever we're gonna have that fetch products one. So fetch, okay, I think that function name should be fetch products one. So that's really meaningful. So I'm gonna just rename that, that's it. So right now, if I come here, if I type something, and I should be able to see the response, but no response is coming yet. And it's because I need to reload for sure. That could be happen. If I do in a very decent way, I think a debounce timer is set it properly. So set timeout, fetch products one, okay, done. So I think it's quite good. We should happen to be seen properly. Just make reload, then we're going to start again. Now, if I try to get the product, if I try A, as you can see, okay, I'm getting the response. So the product is done. So now we need to set it in, especially for particular state. So as you can see, the response is holding the entire product data. So what we're going to do, we're going to just simply make that whatever the log is there, we will just make that one the response as set products as the response. So now, if you can see, whenever we're going to search something, we can now go. And now the problem is that that is setting in the state, but it's not showing in the particular for like the input field. So we need to go and provide the value. So how we can provide the value? So this value gonna combine. So this is the search one value, but okay, that should be. I think we make that one as set search one. So when we click on that particularly, blah blah blah. So on focus, on search, okay, on change is working perfectly, but the problem which is not working is that once we click on that product, right, that product value is not working, not aligning it all together. So what we need to do, we will recheck again where we are actually dealing with that handle products one. So set product, that should be set product one as the product, and set search one, as you can see, the product name as a string. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to log through the product. So let's see what kind of data we are receiving right now whenever we are clicking in that. If we click here, okay, if we click, are we receiving anything? There is some glitch over here. If we click, no, it's not receiving anything. So let's go back here. So this is our product, and this is the on-click event which we are running by so far. If I just gonna comment on that, let's see. Okay, yeah, that is the one. That's correct. But why our product is not happen to be passing that? So on-click event is running. We are passing everything like handle select product one. That should be selected. Okay, that's annoying. I'm going to reload again. Maybe something which you are missing by so far. Okay, still loading again. Let's try this time. Okay, there is some error is here. What is saying here? Okay, div add to cart button. I think something over here that could be. So if I go and like reload that, I'm gonna make one as commented. And if we see either that problem is coming, something is wrong here. That's why we are not looking forward to have that. Okay, so not here, but I think so. That's the div which I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna cut that. So this is the response for my product. So this is my set show search result here. Now I'm gonna just cut it all just to see if the error is disappear, because we are missing something here. So now if we try, I believe that would be fine. Okay, yeah, no error. No, still we are having that error. So means we are missing something. This one is okay. This div is okay. So view comparison, if I comment that, from somewhere is getting the problem here. So I need to find out, because of that reservance, maybe we are not actually clicking in anywhere. So yeah, okay, now there also. So I believe that could be somewhere here, maybe. So if we just go on that parameter, if I just make okay, if I just, okay, that is the entire search one parameter, search parameter. Okay, I'm going to go till here. So that could be input value. Okay, yeah, that's good. So if I comment it, let's just reload here. Let's see if the problem is appearing. Yeah, still. What's the matter here? Okay, I think the div here, okay, that should not be if I just remove that entire things. Still, the problem it was not before. Just recently we're grabbing that. Now, oh my bad. Also here, the problem issue is from here too. If I remove that, when it was coming in the page, we didn't get that issue, but right now, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna make an empty cache. Let's reload in hard. So let's see, and that should not be happen to be an issue. So if we're having that fetch products, we're having an use effect parameter for search one, having that two, having another use effect, having that handle product outside and others, and then that's it. So I'm gonna just go with that. I think this is not a common problem, so we can fix that. But first of all, I want to check if I click on that, why that is not getting the click. So what I'm gonna do, instead of parsing that one as a function, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna just simply log our entire product, right? So let's log the product. Let's see if we can now log it or not. No, it's not logging yet. What is making that one? Okay, when I click here, something is making it for the false value, right? But let's say product, something wrong. I think our problem is not here, because once you click, you see it's like it's clicking outside. So this also acknowledging as we are clicking outside, but it's supposed not to be. So I think the reference which we have been made beforehand, the one which is right here, the reference one and the current. So this is now having the problem. So now we can see the ref, it should not be ref1, because see, this one is not containing this result. So we need to provide that in the upper layer. So that search one should be combining on here. And now if we try, as you can see, okay, now we got the value. So yeah, it's working perfectly now. So what we can do once we are having that, instead of that property, yeah, now we can provide that. And also we can simply go over here and handle search, not that. So should be handles, where is the function which we need to, yeah, I'm gonna comment it. So this is the one single product. So now if I remove it, if I can choose another product, okay, fine. So I need to work with the select product number 2. So this is the same thing what we gonna do on that. So instead of going through on and on, I'm gonna go and let's say it should be, this is the first product, so I'm gonna copy that, and that would be my second product. So I'm gonna just paste that here, right? So as you can see, that should be showing the second product as together, but I'm going to make it in a different way. So that should be our second product. So search result for second product, and that should be instead of one, that could be combining the two, and over here loading one, that combining should be the two, and also that searching not product one but product two. Okay, so product number 2, and okay, done. And handle select product 1 instead of 1, that should be combining that product number 2. And also product name is fine, okay, and instead search 1, that should be search 2, and also other things gonna be fine. Okay, now what we can do, we can remove that, and if we try over here, okay, I can get that. Okay, I think okay, the input value need to be changed because the input is the similar of the previous input. So that's the 2. So what I'm gonna do, I need to combine on that search results. So it's a search 1, that should be, I think that should be reference should be search 2 to ref, and also that should be 2, and similar, I need to replace the value here, then should be 2, and instead of that, that combine the 2. Okay, and one more property, I think that is okay, that should be done. Now it's gonna be working perfectly fine. So now if I search like an Apple MacBook, now again I'm gonna search Apple. So okay, the value is not, I think we need to make a function by which we can capture the product, right? Because we make the function for 1, but we didn't fetch the products for 2. So what I'm gonna do after that, as you can see after below, so this is the fetch product 1, we can just provide that fetch product 2 here the similar way. The fetch product 2, if search 2 is empty, that I'm gonna returning from there, and the product list should be an empty array. Set loading is true, combining that for the value of the search, whichever search the providing method we are providing. Then the params, we are making that params, the search params as the search 2, and then getting the client to get back things to be done. Now is effect property, we have the first product. Now I'm gonna create another is effect to combining that second product, so we can just easily understand what is the first. So that should be our first instances here, changes for the first search and the second search. So this is now working perfectly fine. If I go for an Apple MacBook Mini and then another Apple, let's say Apple MacBook Pro, now we can initialize our comparison. Okay, so now what we can do, as we are having certain set of comparison pattern, let's go and make things done over here. So in the comparison, what we can do, we first of all, we're gonna just need to make like on click, which gonna handle comparison. Okay, that should be our function, handle comparison, or we can just simply make that handle compare, COMPARE. So that should be PARE. So handle compare function, we can like define at the top, below of that, const handle compare. So that's the function gonna handle returning all the possibilities. And after that, we need to set certain kind of things in a pretty decent way. First of all, we need to make it disable, right? When it gonna be disabled, once it gonna be, let's say if there is no product 1, or if there is no product 2. So either one is available, that could be not the value property cannot be done any good way. So first of all, as you see, I will change that class name property. So as we are having the default class, we will provide that class on that classification. So first it's gonna go take the default value as it just happened to be there. I think pretty similar. Okay, not so similar. I think it's not grabbing the background color. Okay. I think we need, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, now it's okay. It's just taking a bit of point. So now if I select one, let's say Apple MacBook, Apple and MacBook Pro. So now is the value is getting selected. The similar parameter gonna run over here, and as you can see, okay, the same thing. but I think the better is to make the color, right? So we can just make that BJ take blue. So if either 1 or 2 is applicable, so we're gonna make the border, and also we're gonna make that like that, so that it can be simple to understand. Okay, we are having hover effect, so that should not be here. Instead of transparent, we're gonna provide the background color. Why it's not taking action? If the product 1 and product 2 is available, we are going to make that BJ as thick blue, right? So that should be our background color. Okay, I think we need to select again, but so border rounded MD, okay, that is perfectly fine. But if product 1 and product 2 available, then okay, now we're gonna provide, okay, the background color is not setting up beforehand. So what we can do, we can just simply cut it and pass it here. Yeah. Only then it can accept, I think so. I'm going to reload it. That could also be applicable. So okay, and oh, it's still working on hover. Anyway, this is not that much in proper way, so I will just keep it the default one, whatever is working perfectly fine. So now what we need to do in handle compare functionality, we need to make sure if we having no product 1, so let's say product 1, or if there is no product 2, so either the product 1 or product 2 is not available, then we don't want to run it. What we're gonna do, we're gonna pass that alert function. Not alert, we can simply make that, or alert is good. Even you cannot type. I think basically that alert is not an action. So please select two products to compare. Okay, that should be masses. But by the way, if there is no product, like if there is either one is that, you cannot, like you cannot do any action, right? And also we're gonna make that return null. Return, we're gonna just simply return from there if nothing is there. And now we're gonna navigate. So that should be, let's say that could be maximize the way. That should be, let's say it's gonna navigate to comparison page with selected products. How we can do that? We're going to simply make that, let's say there is a property called window. You can also make that like use that navigate or router, any other thing. So I'm going to make that location window.location property. I'm going to go through that, and then I'm going to make that an href property here, and that href going to be providing the value. So there we're going to just like concat everything all together. So that should be the proper value here. We're going to go with that window.location.href. We're going to go through the compare page, and then we're going to product 1 should be the select 1 of the current, and product 2 should be product 2.select.current. So as you can see, we are not getting the entire product from the route. As you can see, if we just select another one and if try to comparison, as you can see in the compare value, as you can see, we are taking the slag only, but not the entire product. So the same thing gonna happen if we click. Now it doesn't have the compare page, but we are taking that particular, the same notion, the way it's supposed to be look like. Okay, so things gonna be looking perfectly fine. So it's gonna work for sure, and it's gonna work definitely. So now what we need to do is to create a compare page, right? So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna create a compare page to start with. For building our compare page, it's very simple. As you know, we will just go back directly in our app, and then on the client, we're gonna create a separate page which gonna call us that compare page, and that's it. So after dealing with that particular segment, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just open a new page here. So should be compare /page.tsx rfce. So that would be our compare page. That's it. So as you can see right now, we are dropping here according to the data. We are also now dropping in our compare page. So it's our time to feed the data accordingly so that we can collect our parameter from structure. So first of all, what I'm going to do, there would be some sophisticated structure. But beforehand, as this application, I'm going to make it totally a client-side application. You can make it as an other flag property, but I'll go directly within the client-side property. And over here, I'm going to bring some of the state props. First of all, I'm going to bring my add item from the store. As you remember, there should be add to cart and other parameter. And also I'm going to use that use params hook. I will not get the params directly from, as it's not working in the server side. So I will just make it in that a similar fashion. Then I'm going to bring back my use effect hook and also the type for the product, and that's it. So as you can see, we have my add item, and that add item is required for my like to add to the cart. So this is something similar for that. Whenever I'm going to add into the cart, it should work in that particular way. So let's go back there. Now over here, as I'm having an item, I am having my search params and products. So as you can see, there is a 4 type of products, and all 4 type of products, because it's array of 4. Okay, so there should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that kind of parameter it can be there. And also I'm going to add some more parameter which can really make something better, because as you know, especially over here, every single search parameter going to work perfectly fine here. So there should be a 4 search segments. So if I search, as you can see, like I can go through there. If I search another, I can also go through there. So all search segments should work properly, and there's a 4 all together. And there can be a little bit glitch of responsiveness. You can do it, you can make it better, but for me, I think that much is enough. So right now, what I'm gonna do, as I'm having it here, so here I'm providing that search params, searches, set searches for 4 segment. It's gonna be there, and also the results gonna be as a 4 array. Later on, we're gonna decipher which will be first and which will be last. And then also there is the coming for the loading searches and set loading searches parameter, also the results and set show results. Then is coming the reference. So this is the reference by which we will know in where we are typing and which one we are getting. So it's going to coming from useref, and of course it's going to be coming just an HTML div element just to provide our props parameter. So first of all, we need to bring back our product, right? In that way, we will know which product is working and which one we're gonna get by so far. So dealing with that, first I'm gonna get my default parameter or the default product instead. Now there is one very simple statement here. As you can see, product 1, and there is another is that product 2. So we have 2 particular slag, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just make that one comment, which gonna be, now I'm gonna type it with you because that's where the magic gonna happen. So fetch products based on URL params. So that's where it gonna work. So first of all, I'm gonna define that use effect parameter because it gonna declare the motion in that way. And then I'm gonna write a simple function which gonna be fetch products, and that fetch products of course it's gonna be coming as an asynchronous function, as I'm gonna pull up the data from the Sanity. And when that folder, like when the function is running, I'm gonna make that set loading as true, and then I'm gonna make that try catch block, and on that try catch parameter, so there should be a final block. So in finally, I'm gonna make that, let's say set loading should be as an falsifiable. And also for the error, we're gonna just simply throw the error, just providing the error console error fetching products. That's it. Now in the try block, what I'm gonna try is that I'm gonna bring, like pull out my 2 separate segments. You can either fetch it in the global way, or you can also combine it in that function. So that should be, let's say product 1 should be product 1 slag, and that should be coming from search params dot get. And remember, the method which we are passing there is that is that product 1. So this is the query parameter here, and also as you can see, and is attached, so that could be the query parameter as second. So that should be product 1. That's it. So I'm going to copy that, I'm going to paste it here, and that should be product 2 slag. And here it should be coming simply as product 2. So we have our 2 product. If you just decipher that one at the top, and also if you just log that one, you should be able to get that. No worries. So product 2 slag. And if I just open my console, I should be able to bring back the data to pull up. As you can see, we have our first one, we have our second one, and it's calling twice, so it's getting 2 times print. So now this is how you can combine that, and as it's in the global scope, it's not in that parent layer, so you can still declare it, so no worries. Now over here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that const new products, and that products should be is equal to, I'm going to spread the products parameter, so all the products gonna be spread together, so that's where the new products gonna jump. So now we're gonna make an like parameter, if product 1 slag is available, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna write a simple query. Whenever a product 1 parameter is available, we're going to write the query as underscore type should be is equal to product, and slag dot current should be the actual current parameter. So we're just getting the product according to the slag. That's it, nothing fancy, just single product parameter that we were getting. We are doing the same thing here. Now over here, we're going to simply write that const, let's say product 1 should be is equal to, I'm going to make that await, and over here should be fetching the client, and client.fetch, and from the fetch method we're going to pass our query. And also for the slag method, we're going to use simply that product 1 slag, that's it. And over here we're going to just simply set new products. Okay, I think I need to go out of that function, so as it should be new products, and that new products gonna coming by the first parameter is coming accordingly, and that should be is equal to product product 1, so the new product. So this is the first product 1 is going so far, and of course we gonna make that set search set searches, and over here I'm gonna use the previous versioning parameter. We're gonna make that new search parameter, new searches should be is equal to, we're gonna concate with the previous method brief, and after that should be new searches. Okay, I think I made a simple type error, so should be similar like that, searches, and over here as the first instant go by, we're gonna just make that is equal to product 1 dot name, if the name is available, otherwise it will be an empty string, and from here we're going to return simply new searches. That's it. So that can handle the search 1. So this is the combination is getting to be for this parameter here. We're fetching the product directly from the array, directly from the slag from there, or we can also get the product directly from the search which we are making. So in both way, it's gonna be favorable for us to fetch the product directly within our page parameter. Okay, let's roll back there. So this is the product like the select 1. So now what we can do, we will also manipulate to bring back our, let's say, the second slag, right? So this is the our first slag, so I'm going to just call it the second slag here. Now the similar pattern is going on, product second slag, and the query product 2 product second slag new products, and then passing that the value accordingly. Okay, so now we are gonna pass that our products as the new product. So I'm gonna just try to call that, let's say it should be our products, and let's see what it's gonna highlight for us, if anything we can achieve by preserving that. Right now, as you can see, we are having an array of empty products, but why we're not getting the products? Because we didn't invoke our function. So we need to call the function directly here, and this function gonna change every time whenever our search params gonna change. Okay, so right now, as you can see, so I'm gonna just I think even I refresh, it cannot get the search. It can get. Okay, I'm going to go backwards, and then I'm going to try to research again, because as in the client side, so server side change may not work right here. So I'm going to make the Apple AirPods, and then something view comparison. Okay, yeah, you can see there is 2 products. So I have the first product, I have the second product, and the fourth and third product I'm not getting it because I didn't try to get it, right? So this is the way we can just simply get the product. Now here, there should be another called handle search parameter. We're going to come back to it later on. First of all, we need to provide our other, like whatever the data we are saving or whatever the parameter we are holding. So we will just make the initialization of the, like a little bit of demo here, so like this menu bar here, so that you can easily, because as I have two products yet, so we can now start working on that. And also I'm going to pass that if there is a loading here, we just want to return something like a loader, so it should be return, not like that, should be return like that. Of course we need to import that icon here. Okay, so now if I just put a null check variable, you can see there should be a loading instances here. Okay, set loading is true. No. Is it working? Yeah, you see the loading comparison. So this is gonna run once it's gonna happen. So I'm gonna just keep it like that. So in that comparison page, we're gonna make it a little bit not so tricky. So we're gonna just make it, try to bring it in a simple configuration. We're gonna make bj should be tech, and that gonna coming of bj color. So that would be our background color. And after also we can put some of the alignment. I'm gonna make a padding y portion here. So padding y should be 8. And I should not bring back the entire properties right there. I'm going to bring it within the container folder or container structure. And over here, I'm going to provide a div. And on the div, it's going to be coming up with a link parameter. And that link going to say it should be chevron left. Chevron left icon. Okay, which going to pass that also. I'm going to use an span tag. Span, going to pass that back to home, and then href should be providing as the wrap of /home. So that's gonna be similar as that back to home parameter. That's it. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna put that one as a property class name. So should be class name. I'm gonna flex column. You shouldn't no need to have that flex. I'm gonna just provide a margin bottom of 6. And for the link parameter, put a class name, flex, item should be center, or instead of pulling that all together, I'm going to just be holding the class name right here. So it's just flex, item center, text, like the text blue, and hover of the coming is text orange. And you can put the transition like that, or I'm going to use that our hover effect parameter. That would be cool. So there's a slight design ratio is going on. After the link here, we're going to just simply bring back our title. And in the title, we're going to just pass that, let's say, product comparison. Okay, not like that. Okay, that should be PRI. Okay, that's just a simple mismatch over here. Put a class name, margin left should be 4. Okay, I think, yeah, we are trying to bring back in that particular parameter. So margin left is 4. And then we also gonna make that one text should be Excel, and MD text should be 2 Excel. That's it. Okay, right, we are in the right path. Now after the comparison here, after the particular div, we're gonna take another div, and over in the div we should be generating two certain kind of things. First of all, I'm gonna just pass that in a comment, should be a product PARISON comparison table, and over here we're gonna pass a div. So in that particular div, we're gonna just it's gonna coming as a table wise. You see there's a 4 table, so you're gonna just bring back that according to the table. So first of all, in that table, so I'm gonna just introduce our table, and I'm gonna make in just a normal table. You can use the Shadcn table because we are already using in the card. So now here we're gonna bring that a simple property. So in that here on the table, I'm gonna also use a T body. So on the T body, first thing it's gonna just bring back our search inputs, right? So the search value gonna be appearing here, and for the table row, and then after that we're gonna pass that table D for the and the table D gonna be passing that product. I think you can see the mention here. That's the first one which gonna go back the product. Then we're gonna mapping through the 4 items together, right? So there is the one gonna be for the product. and then we're gonna go and concat with to have a 4 items like 1, 2, 3, 4. And why I said 0 to 1, because the array is working in the JavaScript, which gonna coming a value of 1 even you are writing in 0. So it's 0 to 3, but total value is according to total length is actually is the 4. So you need to go and make that in mind. So, and then I'm going to map through it, and every single thing I'm going to just bring back the index right here. And from there, what I'm going to do, I'm going to return the actual value, and the TD is going to be the key of that, let's say, index parameter. And the table data gonna be also, instead of index parameter, we can pass also, we can concat with that. So I'm gonna just use the backtick here. So that value should be search, and then because we CARCH, and then it gonna, then we are going to implement that one that is gonna be coming off index. Okay. Now, after that scenario, we now need to put that a div parameter over here. In that div, we're going to simply pass an input parameter, just an input text. So in that input, I'm going to just provide a placeholder, just you can see what's actually going on. Search product. And now, as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 1. So this is the similar pattern of what we are looking forward to. Now we're going to just change a bit of design so that you can understand how it's going to work. Put a class name, background color should be white, and then I'm going to put a rounded LG, shadow should be SM, and overflow should be hidden, no overflow whatsoever. And after that, the product comparison, put a class name, overflow. I'm going to make an X should be an auto. So if the horizontal horizontal overflow is happening, that should be in considerate portion. With a class name, I'm going to bring a full weight, and as you can see, it's already, I think previously it was not in full weight. You see how it's just crash it together. So now we're going to bring back putting the table as a full weight. Now you can see how it's capturing. So this is the layer which we are handling is going to work. For the table body, gonna be whatever is like that. For the table row, like, and that one, put a class name. I'm gonna pass a border B, so the bottom border gonna be there. It's there, so you're gonna see later on. Now for the table data, we're gonna make it like that. For the class name, padding should be 4, and then you can see there is a bit of room to breathe for all the entire property. And also BJ, I'm gonna put a gray of let's say 50, and then font should be medium. Okay, so medium font for all together. And now we are gonna come in for the table data over here. So after that's the top layer, and for this one also put a class name. Padding should be a 4, and border left should be there. Okay, now you can see this is gonna looks pretty simple, and now it's getting better, right? So now it's a simple way. I'm gonna just remove that data because now we're not pouring the data here. So that should be similar. No product selected, and other parameter gonna be similar fashion. Now over here, what we can do is that on that particular table data parameter, so as this is gonna be holding the search parameters, and also the reference gonna be now the reference going to be for the particular div, which gonna be, let's say, search. I think we're gonna hold another div here. So as you can see, that's the div. This div is for input, right? So I'm gonna just wrap it within another div. I know it's gonna be a little bit messy, but trust me, once you're gonna finish it, you're gonna find remarkable things happened. So now here we're gonna put a reference here. So that could be this reference, and the reference gonna be search refs. Search reps, and from the search reps we're going to pass the index. And why we're doing there, so now we know which reference going to call. So this is our first one, so 0 index, that's 0 1 2 3. So our index gonna holding the position of that. So in that way, the search reps can find its own way too. So now also for this one, I'm put a class name. I'm gonna make it as a relative. If any absolute value properties we are suggesting, then it's gonna hold in there. So weight should be full according to that, and BJ should be gray of 50. And after that, okay, why we are typing that? Because for the class name is not that much monumental. So what I'm gonna do, providing the entire class name segment with this full BJ background color is gray 50, padding X3, padding Y2, rounded MD, flex item center, justify between. And the same thing I'm gonna be holding for our class name for the input, which gonna be flex1. So it cannot take the entire space. As you can see right now, it's capturing everything on that particular norm. So now what, okay, why I'm saving it, I'm gonna select and delete. Okay, so right now I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So this the input is holding the data. Now here we need to start providing the value. So the value should be searches, and from the searches it's gonna taking the index parameter. So we know which index is calling, and then on change parameter we're gonna now providing an event here. So event, and over in the event we're gonna simply make that set searches. So the set searches should be coming according to that. I'm going to use a previous statement. So previous value, I'm going to hold structured, and then I'm going to make that similar parameter of that. Remember the way which we did at the top layer, or we can make it actually a global function. That would be very simple and easy. Anyway, we can do it later. So the new searches is going to be taking according to get entire previous statement. Then the new search is going to be coming as an index parameter, like which searches we are implementing. Then we're providing e.target.value, we're returning that new searches. And also, as you can see, whenever we focus, and as you can see, if we remove the focus, it's gone. Okay, okay. I was just going to in previous way. Whenever I'm focusing, if I type anywhere here, as you can see, why it's working, because entire, I think the similar things also gonna happen here. You can see, I think we can not misleading that. So let's say width of 40 here. See, okay, now it's good. So this is how you can also combine it. So as you can see, we are now pouring the two value is there already, but this other value is not there because two value is coming from the value which we choose directly here. Now, whenever on focus, so whenever I'm going to focusing on that particular parameter, I want it to be gone, right? So on focus, set show results free, and the same thing coming as the new show value. Okay, anyway, so now it's gonna be, I think, done. I don't want to put any more handling parameter right here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna providing the searches value, right? For if there is the searches, and searches gonna be combining the index here, and if that one is there, then we're gonna providing an X icon, so it's gonna be coming as an cross icon. Otherwise it's gonna be passing that our search icon. Okay, so now we can just simply handle that. You can see it's coming the cross icon because we have the value. So whenever I'm gonna type, you can see how the value is changing. But for the X icon, I'm gonna providing the size over here. Size should be, let's say I'm going to provide it as 16, and then providing the class name, or instead of manipulating that entire portion, we can just simply pass it like that. So, and also for the searches, we can also use that one. Now this function is not yet right here, we're gonna bring that. So what's actually happening, as you can see, if we have the product, we're having a cross icon. If it doesn't have it, we are having just a search icon, just to make the design a little bit very fantastic in that way. For the search results drop down, so this is gonna be searches. And first, okay, I'm gonna go and bring back pouring entire statement. So this is coming actually for the clear product parameter. I'm going to simply write a function which gonna be const clear product, and that clear product, as we are passing the index, we're gonna just grab the index as a props, which gonna be as a, we're passing as a number, because the index parameter always can be as a number. And over here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just make something gonna be a little bit legitimate, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring back two parameter here, which gonna be making that our product new products pre, and then return the new products, and also the searches, because as you can see, whenever I'm gonna click on that, it's gonna remove that particular searches, right? And then it's gonna work entirely to a different approach. So that's what we're gonna make. And then also set searches, it's gonna just provide that initiative. And now after removing that, as you can see, I remove over here. If you just look, whenever I'm removing, if I'm adding, you can see it's adding in the route. When I'm removing, it's also removing from the route. Now if I remove here, it's not removing. So because I'm not removing, so it's always there whenever you are reloading. So what we need to do, we need to update. Let's say we need to update URL by removing the product. So that's what we need to do. And how we can do it, it's also going to be in a very simple way. I'm going to provide the URL should be coming as a new URL, and that new URL going to be window.location.href. That is the simple combination to grab your location there. And also const params, it should be equal to new URL params. That's the params you can use, is inbuilt, so no worries about that. And I'm going to provide that URL dot search value. So now here we're going to provide some simple and simplest way to go with that. So if the index is 0, search params to delete product 1. If it's 1, product 2. If it's 2, product 3. If it's 3, product 4. So that's how I'm going to deleting the params. And then also we're going to need to providing that window.history. And from the history, I'm going to just make that push state. So I'm going to updating the state should be coming as an empty object, and then it's going to be coming as an empty string. And over here we also need to provide that, let's say should be URL, let's say URL dot pathname. I think that's the URL which we are facing. So URL dot pathname, I think it's just simply going to coming according to that. So that should be similar of that. So window.history.push state, which gonna be making that as an empty object, providing the empty string, and then URL path name should be coming from to the string, which just gonna bring back our value as empty. If I remove, you can see how it's gone. If I remove, you see how it's gone. Now if I go back, it's not gonna bring anything from there. So I need to go back to the home. And now again, if I add something there and coming back directly in my comparison, it's gonna hold. And also whenever I'm gonna searching the value, it should be taking that in hands. Now I need to provide the search as well, right? So that's where it's also it gonna be providing some of the magical touch. So how we can just passing that after the search here, after the div over here, we can bring back our search results drop down. And over here, we're going to pass that show results. And over here, also, we need to pass the index parameter. So if that results is available, we're going to show the results. So just providing a div. And if it's not available, we are also going to be passing that if the search results, let's say search results, because there should be two multiple value, right? And over here, we're going to pass the index. And that index, if the length is there, if the length is bigger than 0, then gonna be something. Let's say I'm gonna bring another div, and if no results is there, okay, no results is there, so means we doesn't have any length. And then also we're gonna make that if we are having the searches index is there, because there should be two separate parameter, and if index is there, and we also gonna be combining a div, let's say div, and this gonna holding no products found. And like if we doesn't have any searches and others, we just need to provide the null instances. So this means no products is available. So right now no products found because the search is not materialized. So this is already activated, but it should not be activated at all when the searches value results parameter is in empty, because right now this value is just getting directly there because we need to use some use hooks parameter. So I'm going to bring that all the functions at the top so that it can be easily understandable for you people, that we're gonna go and initializing at the back. So first we're gonna bring that searches, right? So after bringing the searches here, like okay, I think I'm gonna bring that at the top of that loader. Okay, so now after that fetch products, we are gonna also use that handle search for SE for each column. Okay, so that's gonna use the search handle. That should be search. So that's gonna be our function to combine on that parameter, which can handle the entire search segment, right? So whenever we're gonna typing something, it's gonna take the action according to that. So to implement that one, we're gonna use that use callback hook. And over in the callback, we are gonna use that asynchronous function, async. And over in the async function, we're gonna bring back our index, which gonna be a number, and also we're gonna use the search term, which also going back to as a string parameter. And over here we're gonna pass our value prop. So we are just gonna using this a lot of other things. So now if we doesn't have any search terms, so search term, so means we are not searching anything, right? And as you can see, use callback, as it's just coming as a callback. I'm going to passing an empty array here, not that much fancy or other directive here. So now what I'm going to do here, so the same thing going to happen if we doesn't have any search term. The set results going to be coming as an according to passing an empty value. We are going to just mixing it all together. Now what's it going to happen if I have that set loading state? I'm going to just bring back the state, and that will make a lot of sense. Over here in the set loading searches, also the new loading gonna be taking the previous value, and that according to the index it's gonna be true, not for all. Whenever I'm gonna searching here, you see that's loading gonna be true. Whenever I'm searching here, this loading gonna be true, not the other one. I don't want the four should be running together. I want just a single loading to be running all together. And after that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a try catch value here. So that should be try catch property. And on the try catch, I'm gonna be passing a final statement. So it should be finally. That's gonna be holding. That's what we are actually passing at the beforehand. And that should be providing the error. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the query to fetch the product. So that's the same thing. It would be the type is equal to product, and name match should be according to the search, and the order name ascending, and 0 to 10 products maximum we're gonna bring, and the param is gonna be search term, whatever the search value we are providing, and in response we're gonna await client fetch query and param. So we are bringing back our products, and in the set search results, what we are doing, we are providing, like bringing back our new searches results, and there we are according to the index we are setting. So whatever index I'm searching, like I'm searching here, so that is the search product is right here. So whenever I'm clicking on that, according to that search, only that product gonna hold, right? So we are just mixing it separately and then returning the new search results. So this is the way we are handling search. Now after handling search, that's simply function, right? Now what we're gonna use, debound search, because whenever this search is happening, like I type S, I want a little bit wait. So in that way, if I type the whole verse, it's gonna search. Otherwise, every time I'm typing, the search gonna calling, and my memory is gonna be freak out, because how it's gonna happen. So use effects, and on that use effect parameter, we're gonna simply use that parameter. Okay, it's gonna changes when the searches value is there, and whenever the handle search is working. So this 2 times it's gonna handle. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a debounce timer. So const should be debounce timers. It should be according to searches. This is searches dot map, and I'm gonna bring back our search and also index. 2 parameters gonna shoot from there. And over here, I'm gonna return a timeout, set timeout. And on that set timeout parameter, it should be passing the instances handle search, and handle search gonna take the index parameter, and also it gonna takes the search parameter as ERs I took. Okay, that should be this one, search parameter, and also it gonna taking a 300 milliseconds parameter there. And from there, I need to also call the return value parameter, otherwise my debounce gonna running all the time. So should be not like that, should be debounce timers dot for each. And over here, I'm gonna pass the timer. And on the timer, we are just make that clear timeout. And over here, we're gonna pass our timer. That's it. So that's gonna handle our timing. It's gonna populate the data. So according to that, now there is search value, but we will bring that later on. So if I search, there should be some value, but it will define once we're gonna call that. Now also, whenever we are like just closing the let's say we're gonna bring that. So every time like handle click outside, so in that outside click in the searches for each, we are just gonna bringing back our false method in that way. The same thing what we are bringing that. So if we remove, you see that way it's removing, so the similar pattern we are doing it here. But first, of course, we need to bring back our product, only then it can work, right? So what I'm gonna do, also bringing another separate function which gonna update my product. So that's the one. So handle update product. There is something export. I think I removed some of the statement here. Okay, now it's cool. No, I think it's gonna be something. Let's say, okay, I am putting it this my clear product here. So that should be my handle product selection function here. Okay, now it's gonna be okay. So the handle select product, whenever I'm handling on that, remember the way I remove, I'm also setting. So whenever product I'm clicking, I'm setting the value according to that and to capture this entire parameter. I'm removing one, but here I'm adding one. I'm setting the product according to the index. I'm setting product all the four statement here, and then here it's passing whatever the data ratio is going to bring us back. So now here I'm going to first check if anything we are getting whenever we are searches on that. So let's say searches where I'm just setting that it should be passing that search reps search results. So that should work. Show search results. So I'm going to just console that if anything we are receiving here. So let's go and inspect over here. So in the console, I'm going to remove all entire segment. If I search, okay, yeah, as you see, the third is getting true. If I remove, all are okay. So it's only working in the fourth now. If I try, okay, fourth is true. So okay, so now we are in the positioning. So now we need to bring back our product structure to get the data layer. So now we can show the data accordingly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my, as you can see, where we are just providing the input. After input here, accordingly, we should have something, right? Where actually is depending on the data structure, how those things gonna make alike. So we're gonna bring back something. So first of all, I think we can work with some more property here. First, as this is our input, right? So this is input. So here we are showing the results. So results index is coming on that. Okay. So am I did something wrong? So if we have that show results, okay, I think yeah, I think instead of doing null parameter, I think we can move some other portion. But I think we're good. We're good. So here, instead of directly jumping on that, so we can make something. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy that entire statement here. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy or cut it. And over here, I'm gonna make that if we have that show results and we are show results, and then we are having that index, only then we are going to staple on that. There should be coming a div, and on that particular div, we if we are having that like say loading instance and others, because we need to capture also if we have that loading search results on and on that results, if we have any particular index on that parameter, then we are providing a div, and the div going to contain the statement of that a loader icon. So loader 2, that's it. And after that, we can just simply passing our previous statement. So that's how it's gonna work. So now if the same thing is gonna, as you can see, it's actually, you see that that loader is coming, so it's there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make this things a little bit better in that notion. So that should be an absolute Z10, left 0, right 0, margin top 1. So this is what's actually it gonna align. So this is where it gonna capture on that. So now if I type something, you see that it's right there, but it's not actually looking so good. So also max height is 48, our flow by auto border gray of 200. And whenever we are having that loading state, we also want to make it a bit better. And for the loading parameter, so after the loading spinner, we want to show a span tag, which showing that searching, and no need this one. And for the loader icon, we're going to provide a size of 16, and then we're going to provide a class name. Animate should be spin, and then text should be small text. So now I'm going to just go in a null value just to see. As you can see, this is right there. This is actually working, but because this thing is happen to be not that with properties, so that it can actually not capturing. So what if we provide a z of not like that, z of 15, z of 50, it should be always there. So anyway, I'm going to come back to it later on, but right now I'm going to keep it okay, I'm going to keep it like that, because if we are not having the data, it's gonna giving us the issue. So this is the table row for the first instances. There I'm going to go with that product images, and on that product images we are going to bring back our entire product segments like the images. So in the table data layer, we're going to pass that, not the table row layer, in the table data. First thing first, it's gonna having to be passing our image. So this is the second one, which is now, as you can see, searching is working. Of course, we're gonna coming to that later on. So in that table row over here, to the class name, so I'm gonna make it as the similar of that, passing a border of the bottom border. And then for that table data here, put a class name. Padding should be for the similar pattern, bj gray of 50, gray of, let's say, 50, and then border left. So the same thing is gonna happen. And after that, we're gonna bring back our images. So what I'm gonna do after initial render of that, we're gonna just make that another table data. Over here, we're gonna, or instead of keeping it properly all together, we can just make that products.map, and we're going to take that every single products as a product, and also you're going to map through the index property, and from there we're going to inline return on that. We're going to use a table data, and on the table data we're going to pass that if we have the product / images, only then we're going to provide that images. So it should be a link icon just to bring a passing in a separate parameter to bring back the other page. And if there is no images, right, then because it's gonna array of images, if there is no images, we're gonna just pass that no product selected, or like no images and others, something like that. So that as you can see right now, and also here we can simply render the image. So it's gonna coming from our next image parameter, and on that image I'm gonna provide the source should be URL4, and on that URL4 it should be coming, let's say, product.image, and from the images should be the first images, and over there we're gonna also make that URL. Okay, so should be coming that URL there to grab the images right there. And for the alt tag should be passing as the, let's say, okay, not like that, should be product.name. And if the name is not available there, just passing an empty property, or you can just simply pass that product image. And also we can just make that as a fill, and also class name should be object contain. Okay, so also the link should be coming an href, and the href gonna be going through a backtick parameter here. Okay, should be coming a backtick / product / we're gonna simply pass that product, pass that product dot current. So that's where it's gonna pass us directly. And for the table data, as is we are mapping through, we're gonna provide the key, and the key is as is coming from the image. So I'm going to provide that image, and then it's gonna just providing the index here. So that is the key for that particular parameter. As you can see, the image is getting bigger and bigger, which supposed it not to be. So what we're gonna do here, remember the way we are mapping to it after the link, we can just simply wrap it with a div if we are looking forward to. And on the div, we're going to provide some of the class name. We're going to provide that. I'm going to make it a relative, and height should be 40, which should be, let's say, 40, and mx should be auto. Keep it in the middle. So now, as you can see, we are having the images. Whenever we're going to click on the images, it's going to take directly to me to the single page of that particular product. Okay, so as you can see, I clicked and it's just bringing back to me in the single page. So you can come back here. Now this one, new product selected, because that's the message is coming directly from there. So according to that, as we are having that product name, so product image, so now after that table data here, so after that table row, we can pass that accordingly to make that as a product name. So that's providing the name, and also whenever you're going to click on that, it's going to take back to us. So that's the same thing going to happen. So now if I select one, that's the one which is handling right here. So that's the one also working here properly and in a very good way. So this is the name, and after that also we're gonna provide the price section here. So after this data, so also need to bring back our price formatter showing all the price segments. As you can see, that's how we're gonna pouring that up. And after the price, we also gonna pass that a brand. So similar fashion of that in the table row, another one which gonna bring back our product brand. And okay, we doesn't have a product brand is supposed to be there. So because we didn't create it here, product brands. No, we didn't create it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a product brand which gonna handle our product brand data. So I'm gonna come in our common, and here should be product brand.tsx. So what's actually happening from our products, we are not like, okay, we can do one thing. If we just go for the, let's say, a p tag, and here if we said that product dot brand dot, no, there is not coming directly. So even in our like if we go back to our single page, let's see how we are showing the brand right there. So this is the characteristic, that is the brand. So if we go in our, let's say, single product, or you can just directly jump over there. So in that product particularly, so this is the product characteristics. As you can see how we are capturing the brand. So this brand gonna coming up similarly as a get brand function and others. So we need to initially grab it like the way it's supposed to be. So this is the same thing we are going to happen. We're going to make it here. So like if we go back to our product brand, we need to bring by the same parameter. Also, we will make it an asynchronous function. And here in the product characteristics, we're gonna pass that one product. Actually, we are passing product directly here. So the same thing it's gonna happen. We're gonna pass that product directly here, and from the product we can capture the data. And brand get brand product slack.current. So no need the entire product. So what we can do here, as you can see, product slack.current. So that's the one which we are passing directly here. So we can simply get that slack. So here instead that's the slack property we can capture. So we no need this one slack. So that should be slack, and that should be as a string. And here get brand should be passing the this should be passing the slack. Okay, so this is going to happen to be bringing back all our products brands data from there. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to import it right here. So should be brand. Okay, so right now we will not see no changes, nothing here yet. But if we come back on the brand, let's say if we just make log on the particular brand data, brand, and if we just okay, I think it will work. Okay, if we go in the console, let's see, it's loading. Okay, object is render. Yeah, as you can see, we're having the brand reference. Okay, here await brand, it will not work because see, this one is actually for the client side component. So we cannot use the one structure which we are using there. So we need to modify. This is something different. And how we can modify? what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that one similarly like that. So brand name, set brand name, and loading, set loading. So it's gonna be coming off that similar parameter. So what I'm gonna do also, I'm gonna just bring that all together so that you can understand it pretty defined way. And first of all, if we are having the server component, we can use that get branch, right? But as we are not having the server component, so we need to go within the use effect parameter. And also we need to flag it as the application should be coming as an use client parameter too. And as you can see, we have, okay, so what's wrong? What did it wrong? I think we need to fetch the client. Okay, after what else? We need to bring back our loader to icon. I think we're good right now. Use effect is already there, but what's wrong here? Unexpected promise. We made some mistake. Okay, that should not be like that. Okay, I'm gonna just go backwards. I'm gonna just go backwards. Something we messed up. It could happen because we use some parameter. Maybe we cannot use asynchronous. We cannot use await. So I'm gonna remove all of this property. Done. So now we are having a clean sheet. So now I'm going to inspect here. So that's the name, as you can see, the product name. So here the brand should be coming here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just bring that my state here. So one is going to come in from the state parameter. So that should be as a string, or it can be undefined also as it coming from the data layer. Now over here, I'm going to make it as use client flag. So I can now import it anywhere, even in the server side, even in the client side, because I just destructure it as a client property. Now I need to find that actual brand, how the brand's gonna be initialized. So first of all, I'm gonna just bring back everything using that use effects parameter and how it's gonna actually work. This is very simple. As we defined the property beforehand, here what we're going to do, we're going to make a simple function which is going to be fetch brand. And if there is no slack, set loading is false, we are just making it return. So even no need to make set loading false, it will automatically return from there. Nothing to be worried about that. And on the try catch and the try block, we have the query. The type is equal to product, and the slag.current should be the slag. And then in that parameter, we are providing the brand name, which gonna be brand.title. So this the key which gonna be holding our brand name, and that gonna choose from the brand title. So that's going to be coming there, and the result going to be our client fetch query, and then we are passing the slag which going to coming our particular slag on that. And after that, what we are going, if the result, result should be coming as an array from the Sanity. If the result contain the brand name, that said brand should be a 0 and providing the brand name itself, and otherwise the error going to providing, and that's it. And then we are invoking the function, so our brand name should be injecting. If we just make a console log over here, passing that brand name, as you can see, Apple Limited, both brand is just showcasing here. So now we also can passing that if there is no brand name, like if there is a loading instances till the data gonna fetch, we can pass a simple loader here. So it should be similar of that. Okay, so whenever the loading is coming, so we can just provide the null check. That's the brand name is loading. As is a client side, we can show the interactivity. And also if there is no brand name, then what we can do, we can pass a simple objective that this product has no brand name. You can put one or you can put multiple. I think multiple is good. And also, I think like that is gonna be, or like that. Yeah, now it looks properly aligned. So we are, if there is no brand, only then it's gonna affect it. Now, if there is a brand, we instead of div, we can just simply put a span tag here, and then we're gonna make that as a brand name property. And for the brand name, let's put a class name. The text should be base, font should be semi-bold, tracking should be white. So now we can see our brand name is aligned. So now we can see our brand. That is just a simple task, not so complicated, but it feels different, you know. So once you are trying to do or manipulate a lot of parameter in one single issues. So now after that table row, another table row gonna be implemented, which gonna be asking for the availability. If we have the stock, and on that, if there is the product stock is available, we are providing the text screen. If it's not available, it's gonna be getting right. If we just make that null check, you can see that's just make that out of stock. Also the same, if we just do that here, we're gonna say out of stock product. But if it's having it in stock, it's gonna showcase the text of in stock right there. So after that instances, we should be generating our description here. So what I'm gonna do after that table row, we also gonna providing the description, then that should be the product description. That's it. And if no description available, we can generate the same thing if which we did that. Let's say it's gonna be brand. So we can simply pass that. I think that data layer is quite interesting. So we can simply, okay, we can simply pass that here. We can simply pass that here. And also we can simply pass that here. Now, if we just want to see that cross value, just make null check. Okay, oops, product description. Oh, okay, need to cross align on that. Then now you can check in the null check. Okay, quite good. So now you see the other value is coming up on that. Looks quite interesting. And after that parameter, we should be having some action step. So that's all are going to be action step. And that action text is going to contain like a view details, product card, blah, 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 and all other parameter. I'm going to bring that like the other tab also, as you can type and do it accordingly the way you want. So should be shopping cart icon, and also handle add to cart should be, I'm going to just keep it like that. And that's it. So now what's actually has happened, once you click in the view details, the same routing parameter is gonna happen. So if we have view details click, it should taking on that. I'm not gonna typing on that. The scholars and class names all are the similar parameter the way it's supposed to be. And if we are having any stock parameter like disable whenever the product stock is not available, if you just remove that null check, you can see this one should be disabled. Even you click, it will, I think it's supposed to be okay. Anyway, you can make it the way you feel it better. And then we are having that clear product icon. Whenever you remove, the same thing which is actioning here. This thing is pending, I know, so we need to be coming back. So this the way it can really accessible. So now I'm gonna just preparing or passing that handle add to cart button parameter. So in that way you can add to the cart instantly. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go at the top, and after the clear, we can simply pass that handle add to cart, which also gonna passing that toast masses gonna coming up React hot toast. You can add it from here, and that is just added in a proper way. Okay, now we need to let's work together with that parameter of that searches results, so which is still pending. So now we need to bring back together so that it can work together. So first of all, in the searching parameter, the show results is right here. So the loader 2 icon is working. So whenever we have the results, like we have the length, right? So we have the show results, and this is the div which is actually working on that particular instances. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna map through our entire, let's say, search results, and then we're gonna bring back our, let's say we're gonna go with that index property, so it can now go through the particular properties, and we're gonna map to the property here. We're gonna take the product as an initial value property. And over here, we're going to provide a div. On that particular div, it's going to just provide a p tag. And here, we're going to pass that product dot, let's say, dot name. So the product name should be aligned it all together. We need to provide the key should be product dot / or underscore ID. So right now, as you can see, if we bring and search, search is getting empty. So I think we need to make that now check here. Loading searches. So if the loading searches is there, only the loading search can work. You see, right now we can now bring the all together value. If I search anything, okay, that's cool. It's already coming. So now what we can do, we can just simply make it a little bit a maintainable way. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna provide a class name for that particular div here. So that's the div gonna holding a back of that like say it's gonna be padding X, horizontal padding for 2, a 3, vertical is 2. Over a BJ should be border. So that's, you can see whenever we are hovering on that, that's looking perfect. Now for that product name, we're going to provide a text should be SM, font should be, let's say, medium, and that line clamp should be 1. So I want maximum one line property should be aligned. If I click outside, you see how it's removing. If I click on earpost, so that's where the function needs to be happen to be done. So if I just click on click function, and here we can simply just make that handle select products, and over here we're going to pass that index, we're going to pass the index, we're going to pass our product. That's it. So now whenever we're gonna, like, if I click, you can see it's selected and that's just coming right away. If I remove, it's gone. If I, because why the loading is happening, because it's updating actually the layer. So if you want to like share anyone, if you just share the link, it will automatically set the product and provide you the source. So it can be shareable. It can be a very much good aligned whenever you are working on the particular instances. So here in the images, I think is it you can see here the border is not working properly, so we need to align it. There should be a border for the images parameter. Okay, we're gonna go back to that. First, I'm gonna finish these instances here. So now we are having our product, and so the product name is working, and over here, I think this is extra layer, which I think is just a mistake. So this is just an extra layer which is not required, and no product found. It can be just passing that class name. Padding should be 3, text should be SM, let's say text should be SM, and text gray of 500. That's it. So now what we can do, we are almost there to be finished up. So here on the table row for the images, we're providing the border B and also the border L. So I think the table row here, table data here, we can just also make that okay, we can pass that padding of 4, and then text should be center and border should be up. Yeah, now it's working. So if I get to upon to be working on the 4 items, okay, as you can see, we have the comparable value. If you remove all, okay, that's also just removing the parameter. Okay, quite good. So now we are having our compare sheet. So it's really cool the way you can do a lot of tasks, lot of things, but you know, it's simple, but it's not that much complicated to go alongside and make it in a simpler fashion. So now we are having our compare, like the compare page. So now, as everything working perfectly aligned, if we also check back to our, let's say, for our account status, if we go, try to go there, is it taking back? I think it will take back, just, yeah, it's just taking refactoring. So here, what we need to do, we need to start pouring the data. So what we can do now, we're gonna start initiating to our, let's say, the view card. So here, this functionality need to be happen to be done. So what I'm gonna do, let's go back to our card. So should be card page client, and over here whenever we are using that, so handle product add to cart, check out that button pressed, right? So over here what we need to do, we need to make that functionality by which we can simply motivate the way our productivity can work. So as you say, we are now showing the button press. Now here we need to initialize our checkout instances the way it can work. Now over here, we need some more setup to go in a considerable way. First of all, I'm going to close all other parameters. So let's say I'm going to close all others here. Remember, we have a file called .env. So here we need to go and do lots of trick right here. So first of all, we need to have like multiple key here. So one key, it's going to be, as you can see, we have the Sanity token, right? So after that, we should be having a Sanity API token, the way we can now introduce our API to be working all together, and that's need to be providing in a proper way. And also we need to have that Sanity based public, it should be next public, Of course, you need to write that next public, otherwise it cannot access. So next public base URL key, and next public Sanity project ID, dataset, which is production API key, that should be an API token. And we also gonna implement one more token, which gonna be a read token. Whenever we are needing to be just read the data, we can pass that. Then what we need to do, we are having that Clerk secret and others. We're gonna also happen to be that Stripe secret key by which we're gonna create the payment, and also we need to happen to be that Stripe webhook secret key. So this is the key parameter which we are really needing right now to go and work it all together. And for the API version, we can use the updated, or I'll just keep it the default one, which actually if we just go in that Sanity, I think we can find it somewhere where they are using that. So in the live client, okay, no, it's not capturing that. So in the default parameter is holding, no, it's not holding. So okay, yeah, that's the one is holding. So we can simply pass that version of this one, updated one. So now we need to get the Sanity API token, Sanity read token. To capture that read token, I'm gonna show you how you can do that. As you can see in the API, click on API. As you can see where you can add your origin. Once you are having the production, you can add your production origin. For right now, from the token, add API token, you can just name that as a developer token, developer. And over here, that should be an editor token, not a viewer, but an editor, because we need to write something in our dataset. I'm gonna copy this, and over here, I'm gonna just simply pass that. Right? So don't try to copy paste that one, use your own API key. That should be a very good help on that way. And also let's just directly go in, jumping in your Stripe account. If you are on this channel already for a long time, you know how to grab it. So now what you can do, I'm gonna just go in my other accounts. I'm gonna create a new accounts just to go in the test purpose. So let's say baby shop, what's the name we provide? Baby Tech YT or Baby Shop YT. I think that's the similar concern. It can be done YT. And then I'm gonna hit enter to create our account by which we can like grab our payment or structure our payment to just receive the payment from our client. And then we're gonna run the webhook, which can be updated in real time. I want to skip everything for right now, or I can just go with curring, non-curring, blah blah blah. This is just a simple setup. If you are in the best thing is using the Stripe is that whenever you are using the production grid, you can just simply use your key and that it can work directly. So now over here, I'm gonna go in more, not in the more, go in developers. And as you can see, I already in my baby shop YT. If you're not, you can just simply select from there accordingly the your apps. So from the developers, you're gonna go with the API keys, and from the API keys there should be the API key, publishable key, secret key. I need only the secret keys. I copy that and paste it here, and so this is my secret key. So that's the one which we're going to use. And also the transactions going to be happen right here. So after any transaction happen, we can see or view it in our particular payment section. So let's just go directly to create the formalities by which we can start working with our payment integration. So first of all, what we can do, first, whenever we're gonna click on that checkout, we're gonna make that set loading parameter going to be as true, right? And then we're gonna make a try catch block parameter by which it can make things looks better. And for the block parameter, for the error here, we're gonna simply pass the error. And for the final method, we are gonna be make that set loading, it's going to be just as false. That's it. Now for the try block, what we can do, we can using a metadata. So let's say metadata, and that metadata, it should be passing as an object, and that object can pass a simple instances of metadata. Remember, we have a types folder, or no, it doesn't have a type, we have a Sanity type. Did we create another types? I don't think so. So we are only having a single type function here. Okay, anyway, we can go with the type, whatever the type we are passing. So the metadata, remember, it should be similar of that. Okay, that's the metadata is a type. The order number going to be string, customer name is string, customer email is string, Clerk user ID going to be string, and address should be coming as an address parameters. All the types is defined at the top, or it can be null. So what we can do, we're building that, we can simply pass that metadata according to the metadata it can be holding on that. So now for the metadata, what actually we're going to build for that? Remember, we're going to pass that order number. So accordingly, what we're going to do, we're going to just bring back the order number from that scenario or itself. So as you can see, we doesn't have any meta. Okay, I think am I in okay, I just pasted the wrong one. It's my bad. So that should be similar like that. So first of all, for the metadata, remember we need to grab our user, otherwise it also not gonna handle it in a proper way. So we can just simply grab the user, see, which already was pertaining here. So I just commented it beforehand. So what is actually happening for that our metadata, we are providing the order number, which is going to crypto random UID. We're just creating a new UID, and the customer name getting that user that full name, otherwise it can be unknown. Customer email going to be email address of the zero index address, otherwise unknown. And the Clerk user ID going to be user ID, and address should be the selected address. So this is the metadata we are handling. And right now, what we're going to do, we're going to pass that metadata to our checkout URL. Const should be checkout URL, and the checkout URL going to be passing at await. And of course, as you can see right now, this entire portion, the way we are working, this is not going to call it directly here. We're going to use a simple handle or yeah, that's already passing. Okay, we're good, we're good. It's just my bad to just we're miscalculating. Here, what you're going to do, we're going to make that create checkout session, and over the checkout session we're going to pass that our grouped items, which we can just check from the state, and then we're going to having the metadata, and over here we're going to just simply log that, let's say console log dot log, and we can simply pass that checkout URL, and we can just simply pass that checkout URL. Okay, so now we need to create that create checkout session object. So how we can do that? We can do in a two different way. First of all, one parameter is that we can go with that, like we can go with the API, we can create the API, then we can create the checkout. So that's how we can do. That's the one way. And another way is that instead of passing that at the root, we can create a folder called actions, where we're going to keep all the actions, and over here we can create the function called create checkout session.ts. So that's the function which can hold all our segment by which way, and that's also in the server side, so it can also handling all the server side configuration and others. And we can just trigger an use server which can act it as a use server parameter. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring that our type right here, and that should be the all the type parameter. So addresses need to be imported here. So right now also there should be another interfaces here, which going to be for the card item, and we're going to provide that card item store parameter, which can be the type for that card items. And now we will make that export assign function over here, and in that function we can just pass the name of that. Let's say it could be create checkout session, the similar pattern of that. And over here we can simply make that function invoking over here, and that function gonna take two parameter. One is the product, so yeah, one should be not product, one should be, let's say it's gonna be taking the items, so it can be items, and the item should be the card item, and from the card item it's gonna invoke entire product statement. And after that also it's gonna take back one more parameter, is that the quantity should be passing the quantity as a number. So this true value it's gonna concat all together to bring that property in a very similar fashion. So now first of all I'm going to use the try catch parameter. So once the try, or if we are like if having an error over here in the catch block, we can simply pass that error, and that's it. So right now, as you can see, we can now import that checkout station from the action, and also we can import the metadata from there. Not like that, should be metadata should be coming from there. Okay, so right now we need to do some of the diversify notion over here. So what we can do right now, for especially for the checkout session, we will make things pretty decent. So first we're gonna just retrieve the customer. Okay, so how we can do that? So in the try, on the try block, we can simply pass that the customers need to be passing from this try. So we need to import the stripe, or we need to manipulate the stripe, how the stripe gonna be. So what I'm gonna do, you see that what we have a lib here, we're gonna provide a stripe .ts file. So this is the one which can handling all of our Stripe configuration. So you're gonna just simply, we need to install Stripe first. So that should be a simple library, npm I Stripe. That's it. So that's the one which do all the magic. Just provide a time to install, then we're going to start working on that. Okay, so install. So we need to import the Stripe. I'm going to just easily use that Stripe from, it should be coming from the Stripe. That's it. So now we can initialize all the value properties. So now if we're going to pass that, if the process.env is, remember the way we are naming on that, I want you to get the similar key of that .env. Over here, the Stripe secret key. So name should be passing at the same name, otherwise it can be happen to be providing an error. So if we doesn't have any Stripe secret key, then what we are going to do, we're gonna throw a new error. So it should be throw an error. So new error. And on the error, you're going to define of that Stripe secret key is not set. So we need to provide the Stripe secret key. And if we have that, we're going to just define that Stripe should be is equal to new Stripe property here. So Stripe property. And from there, we're going to pass that process.env, and then the property can be aligned it all together. So that should be coming as an env dot Stripe secret key, and the secret key should be as a string value. And from there, we're gonna also modify that. We're gonna provide the API version, and automatically it will take the current version, whatever version we are using, or that's a particular library is using. So you're gonna provide that, and from there, what we can do now, we can simply make that export default, and we are now exporting the Stripe. That's it. So now our Stripe is ready. So if we go back directly to our checkout segment here, we should be importing two separate parameters. First of all, it's gonna be handling the Stripe, according the Stripe from whatever we are doing, and also it's gonna happen to be importing the Stripe. Of course, that should be the lowercase Stripe, which can like dollar jingle. So that's the two separate Stripe is happen to be bringing over here. So we're gonna work with both of that together. So first is that, remember the customers, we're grabbing the customers from our Stripe.customers list and from the metadata, because that customer can have a separate purposes, and we are actually grabbing the customer email, and that should be the customer. So the metadata.customer email, I think, did we having that metadata? So that's how we're gonna retrieving our the consumer. And over here also we're gonna make that customer ID. Customer ID should be is equal to customer customers dot data dot, if the data is length is bigger than 0, then we're gonna do others, and if not bigger than 0, then it should be just passing an empty. If it's bigger than 0, we are just making that customers dot data, and according to that data, we're gonna just simply pass the ID. That's it. So this is our customer ID. Okay, what's happening to metadata? Cannot find name metadata. So of course we need to, okay, that's my bad. We are having the items. We no need to capture the quantity, because the items is capturing the quantity. We need that metadata, which gonna be passing that metadata. So now the metadata value is working perfectly. So as you get the ID, so now we need to create our session particularly. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a session payload. Okay, so that would be properly aligned to say that, so whatever the data we want to throw or jump it there, we're gonna just store that data here. So that would be the session payload. And that session payload data, it will not be a simple synchronization. So we need to modify that data, and we're going to provide a type here. The type should be, let's say it's going to provide a Stripe dot, and that would be getting the checkout dot. That should be a session created params. So session create params, that would be for the type itself. And over here, we're going to pass the metadata. Remember the metadata. Okay, I think, yeah. think there's some miscalculation. So you're going to pass the metadata. So that metadata going to be compiling the data which we are actually happen to be to make that things to be done, which you're going to having the order number, customer name, customer email, Clerk user ID and address. So that's how we are actually passing that through. And for the mode, we're going to put the mode as payment. Okay, and also we're going to provide a two separate URL. One's going to be for the success URL. If it's success, then it will go directly in the session ID with the checkout segment, and if it's cancelled, we'll just roll back user to our actual for the parameter of particularly to go in that cart page again. And for the line items here, because we need to provide the line items to define in the cart, of course need to be URL for implemented here. Then what we are passing here, especially for the line items, we are mapping through our items, right? So if we go back here, we should be having our items. So this is the items which we are particularly taking back there. So now every single item, so whatever the item gonna be, let's just say it's gonna be getting the type as a product type. I think not so, because the item should not inject that. Okay, what's actually happening does not exist on the type product. So means our product type, it just happened to be a little bit tricky over here. So what I can do for the card item, instead of card item, we can simply pass that, let's say, product. Okay, I think that could resolve some of the issue, maybe. No. So okay, we need to synchronize on that way. We have the card item. From where we get the card item? Did we get that? Yeah, that's the card item which we are happen to be in the store, and we have the product as the product and the number as the number. So that is the same parameter which we are using by so far. So I think, is it gonna be like that? Anyway, we'll check. Let's just go. I'm gonna fix that in a bit. So let's just see how it's gonna redirect on synchronize, because we need to provide in something after passing that through of that parameter. Then for the additional parameter after happen to be there, we need to make that, like, say we will go with that conditionally at customer or customer email. So that's what need to be added in a conditional way. So what we're gonna do, if we are having that customer ID, we'll just value gonna be according to the customer ID. Otherwise, we will create a new session user according to the customer email, which is coming from the metadata of that particular instances. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use that for the, let's say, we're gonna create the session. Session should be is equal to await, and then we're gonna make that as a Stripe. Stripe dot checkout dot it should be a sessions dot create, and from there we're gonna create a particular session, and here we're gonna just pass that session payload just to go and work on that. And from there we're going to return simply that session.url, whatever the URL we're going to just coming or passing by or getting by. So you're going to just fall back to on particular instances. So now over here we should be having the checkout URL to be implemented once we did so. So if we go here, let's say the group items, anyway we'll find that if we are having any error running by. So now we're going to just click on that, particularly the confirm order, and as you see it's processing. And after processing, we are finding one issue here. So the issue is not a valid URL. Okay, fine. We're gonna see what's happening. Actions, create session. Okay, if this time start with image, return image. Okay, something gonna be happen to be not good. So we need to find what's actually happened to be there. So from the cart page, we are passing that group items, right? So that's the group items actually happen to be there. So this is our group items, right? And then once we are just declaring that the checkout session, so we should be happen to be get the checkout URL. So okay, wait, of course we made that. So now we can also like reshuffle on that. We can just pass a value. Like if any of the parameter gonna happen to be not validate, then we can also use some of the validation. I think items is happen to be getting the problem. So the items, it should not be the card items, it should be the group card items which we are passing. Yeah, that's what we did. So the items is the group card items, so it's happy to be the product. Now we will make the login. Let's say I want to see what kind of data we are passing, so let's just make a log here. I want to see that should inject grouped items. I think we are passing that items all together, so this is just getting a little bit difficult. Group items, yes. So if we inspect over here in the console, we should be able to see. I'm going to reload it here. So we suppose, yeah, there is an array of 4 items. It's just rounding up. Okay, again, my face is getting slow. So okay, there is the products, and every single happen to be this the one the way it's running. So every single thing has a product parameter. Okay, that's cool. So means it's actually sending the data proper way and in a proper method. So I'm gonna remove that. And on the session, so this is particularly happen to be the problem. So I'm going to go just line by line if I'm missing something there or not. So we're going to bring back our Stripe. We also that is Stripe type, card item, URL4, and for the order number, we bring everything. So that should be group items. Product should be that is the product which we bring back together beforehand. So that's cool. It's working perfect. And also for the items, which is tragically getting to be there as an items, and the items is okay. That was the problem. So we didn't define it like that. It should be of this one. That's it. So that's where we are actually messing around. I think that's okay. That's the one line. That's the one problem which we got. And also that should be an array of items. That is should be like that. So now if we go and if we try to confirm the order and let's see what we are actually receiving, localhost card, the creating checkout session, you're not a valid URL. So this is the problem which is happening. Well, it's not generating the actual URL. So also we can like put a and segment, validate if any group items don't have a price. That could be just validate if any item is missing the price calculation. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna making the customer, we are providing the customer, we're getting the customer data, and then in that parameter we are creating the session ID. So if we go the base URL, so I'm gonna go in my particular .env file, maybe we are missing something, env, and over here, so this is the okay, this is the base URL key. Okay, we didn't provide that base URL key, which should be the local host, only 3000. So need to be implemented. I think that's the one which we are missing by so far. Now if we just go and try to initiate this data layer, let's go back here, remove that. Okay, there is an error is happening. Let's just invoke that what's actually happened to be there. Okay, nothing uncut. Okay, we can find it. What's happening? React depth mismatch. Should be deploying production. Learn more. Okay, cloud uncut. Okay, we're gonna find the solution for it. But first, we're gonna check the order processing. Yes. Now, if we click on that, as you can see, we're getting our actual payment module. So this is the one which you're looking forward. So from there, we're getting our checkout key. So what we can do right now, as you can see, once the checkout thing is done, we need to just redirect to that particular instances so that it can just work on that. So instead of logging that one, we can just simply pass that checkout URL into that location.href, should be checkout URL if I confirm the order. So right now, as you can see, it's gonna redirect to me directly in the checkout page. So after that, we need to create the success page and others. So now we're gonna build that other scenario by which we can really do all the magic in a single mechanism.